Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to a Friday live stream. We do this every single Friday where we get together and we mix our energies together and we ask a juicy question of the universe, and we usually have a pretty good time doing it. So today's question is, if they called you right now, what would they say? What would they, I guess not what would they do, because they'd be on the phone, so you couldn't really see what they were doing unless maybe this person does want to like video call you in some capacity. We'll have to see. But we have 3 piles and it looks like we don't have an anchor card today. I'm just moving right along. I'm just getting us right into the reading. So no anchor card today, but we do have 3 piles. So I will go ahead and put that up here if you have not already made your choice, made your decision. Hello, happy Friday. So you can have a good gander here, have a good look, and go through your process of selecting your pile. And we like to use this time to have a moment of silence where we just turn the gaze inwards and take a breath and connect with this moment and allow all of the excess thoughts and stresses and the to-do lists just kind of settle down to the bottom so that we are crisp and fresh in our energy. And from that place, you can pick your pile and then interact with the reading. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and do it. All right. And if you're ready, you can open your eyes and be drawn into whatever pile or multiple piles that you feel called to. Maybe this person has a lot to say if you're drawn into multiple piles, or maybe there's some type of hodgepodge or mismatch in the piles, but knowing your situation and knowing your person, you probably can piece together like what it is that they would say. If it's like this kind of amalgamation of 2 piles, like, oh, they would definitely say this, but then it would like turn and become, pile 3 at this moment because this person isn't like, soft enough to admit this or that, So you probably, I feel like we work through this together. Tarot, in my estimation, is not a passive kind of process. We all are called to kind of use our intuition, sharpen our intuition, get in touch with that part of ourselves. So if you need another moment or two, you can go ahead and pause the video here, but we're going to go ahead and move into pile number 1, the temple. The temple. Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay, let's just tap into who this person is just so I can build a context here. So Spirit, who is calling? Let's check the caller ID, Spirit. Who is calling? Who is coming through on the line, Spirit? Who is calling through on the line for pile number 1? Okay, interesting. We have the 6 of Cups. Okay. The Lovers and the Ace of Flames. Who is calling, Spirit? Queen of Flames. Queen of Flames. Okay, it still could be a number of people here, so I'm trying to get some like clarification because I just feel like, okay, so this is definitely a person where something has gone on, but this may have been something that did involve multiple people here. So that's why I'm still struggling on who this is. It's kind of like dialing in. I think there might be a number of people that are curious about you and your response, maybe to this person is what I'm getting. But it might not be this person who calls you because they might be a little bit fearful. But yeah, I feel like there was something here, like you were friends. So like maybe there's an entire like friend group. There's definitely a past kind of connection here. Yeah. So they made you feel like this with the 5 of Cups. And I think maybe you feel like there was some kind of strategy to do this, or there was like something hidden. There was like a hidden element to this person and possibly to these people, like anybody who is keeping this person secret or anybody who is kind of, watching this because, and maybe the people that were watching this weren't necessarily a part of the secret, but they could tell that the interaction that they were watching was an interaction between a genuine person, meaning somebody that was authentic in the way that they were emoting and in the way that they presented themselves. They weren't trying to hide and manipulate in order to elicit some type of maybe humiliation ritual or to get some type of outcome that they wanted, and a person who was actually doing that. Like they could at the very least see that one person had negative intentions and they were putting on like a bit of a show in order to maybe hurt you or isolate you here in some way, or to get away with something, like cheat on you or something like that. So who is this that's calling? This might be a situation where it's very high school, where like, again, somebody is calling you to ask like how you been or how things have been going, but it's because they're actually wanting information on this like kind of other issue. Okay, 3 of plastics, 3 of cups, Page of Flames. Okay, so I kind of been feeling this is a friend that was kind of wrapped up in this situation here from the past. So let's start getting into what this person would say. So what would they say if they called you right now? I feel this person kind of trying to go roundabout. It's like there's some information that they want to ask you about directly, or that they want like to know about directly. So this person would ask, I think, vague things, like vague questions about like how you been, how are you doing? But they really mean like, how have you been doing since the incident? You know, how do you feel about this thing that happened? But they're not going to come right out and say it, because I feel like this person wants for you to say it. And it might be because they're it feels to me like they're tiptoeing around the issue. Okay, so what would this person say? Catcha baby. Thank you so much for the super chat. Catcha baby. Okay, so what would this person say? I can feel them not knowing how to say, not knowing what to say. Because I also feel like you had a certain kind of relationship with this person, a certain rapport, a certain kind of closeness. And now they're unsure about that. It's not that they feel like it's entirely ruined. It's not even that they feel like even if you were mad at them, that you could like never forgive them or anything, but they're just a little bit uncertain about what to expect, how you feel. And I think they're casting a wide net. Again, like when they're asking you things like how you been, how you feel, they kind of also mean about them specifically, and how much of the blame do you put on them for like what actually went on here. But I'm kind of getting that there's like this adjacent feeling to this person. And I can't tell. I think for most of you, this was a person that like existed adjacent to some bullshit and fuckery that went on. And I think maybe you wonder about this person. Maybe there's certain things that you want to ask them directly, and they might kind of suspect that as well, but they want you to be the initiator of that. And so I think they're just kind of like making their presence. They're like, hey, I'm here, you know, kind of a thing. And so they're kind of like tiptoeing around this, but they are wondering. And I do think that you kind of wonder like how close this person was, emotionally, or like, did they hang out? Like, you know, what they were were they talking about you? Like with this other person who actually did something that was very mean-spirited. Like it does seem that it was meant to kind of cut you at the kneecaps. It was meant to sabotage you. It was meant to ambush you or humiliate you in some way, kind of in the moment. And yeah, I'm kind of getting that. There's pissant energy coming from somebody, but it feels like this person that's calling, it's like adjacent to that. And they're like, because I also feel like this person didn't stand up. Like they also didn't say anything. Like they didn't come to your side of it and like kind of bolster you. And I'm not even getting that it was like this person was asked to kind of throw themselves on the blade, or like, you know, it's just more like they didn't support you. Like in the moment, they just kind of sat back and let you be humiliated, or let you stand up there by yourself, or let you have tomatoes thrown in your face or something like that. So I think this person is kind of wondering like how you feel about them. And I kind of feel that you don't feel this person's like entirely a bad person. I think you do recognize that like they should have done more and they could have done more and they didn't do more. But I think you're also recognizing that there's like a worse egg in the picture kind of a thing. So, okay, what would this person say? This person, okay, now I just look down at this temple card and like those praying hands, because I feel like this person is not feeling confident in this situation. And maybe for some of you, this is a more chronic issue in this person where they don't feel they don't feel confident. And maybe that's why they're not being so direct. Because there's a vibe that's coming off of this person where it's like they're praying because they want something. They want something like direct from you. They want something specific from you, but they won't go right in for it. And instead they're kind of like praying that the universe will fill in the gaps or kind of give you the hint or something. And I think you kind of know that. And I think you're kind of steering, like, I think you're aware that this person wants to ask you something specific or that they're after something specific, but I think that you're kind of not going to bring it up in a sense, because I think that you recognize there was something about the situation that happened before that was like feeding off of your pain, feeding off of your emotions, feeding off of your vulnerabilities and your insecurities, that was the currency that whoever did this wanted. Like they wanted your humiliation, or they wanted your sadness or your grief. They wanted to elicit a kind of like weak or vulnerable emotion in you that kind of admitted like, that kind of betrayed you in a sense, like where you couldn't stand strong or protect yourself, that you felt attacked, but also that it would affect you, you know? And I think whoever did this wanted you to feel like more of the group was attacking you than was the case. I feel like this person really was the one doing it, but they're just like hyper manipulative. And I kind of feel like whoever was doing this, they really only had the power to like try to, it's giving like a thespian, it's giving like a performance, because again, like your friend can tell that like somebody here was like not revealing their entire motive for what they were saying. They weren't revealing their emotions because their emotions were like aggressive or something. So, okay. What would this person say? They're going to drop a lot of hints, basically. They're going to dance around. They're going to drop a lot of hints. So this might be a phone call where it's like, it doesn't even last for very long. Like this person was prepared and hoping maybe that this phone call would go on for like 3 hours. But, you know, if you're kind of, you're defending yourself is kind of what it is. Because again, there's still some type of question. This person needs to make themselves known. They need to step into the spotlight and they need to make themselves safe for you. So for you to like actually feel like you can open up, because I feel like this person needs to understand that you were just attacked in some way. And so of course you're going to be on shaky ground and not like for sure entirely like trusting. And I think this person is, it's weird because there's like a gap here where like this person is like, do you feel like I'm your friend? But at the same time, like not really putting you in like the entire context. So they're kind of going to say like, okay, well, if you open up and if you start talking the way that we always did in the past, that means that like I'm forgiven and accepted and that we're friends. When in reality, I think you went through some type of like traumatic event that is actually changing the way that you're interacting with people, at the very least, like that know this other person and that were in some way, even tertiarily like connected to whatever happened, because you don't know who to trust. But this person's not really seeing that. They're just kind of hopeful that you're not mad at them. So, okay, what is this person going to say? I'm just going to ask one more time generally, and then I'm going to start to move the conversation in a way that I want it to go. Oh my gosh. I feel like they're going to be overly sweet because here we have the Six of Cups again, and notice how she's clinging to him, but he's not really into it. I feel like that's what they're going to do. They're going to be overly nice. They're going to be overly like intimate with you. It's like they're hugging you through the phone kind of thing, where they're kind of like showing like, I really like you and I'm really excited about you. But again, that's not showing safety. That's not the same thing as showing safety, because I think somebody was smiling in your face. You're wondering if this person was smiling in your, this is like the thing about kind of weak people that don't like stand up in the moment, is like, it does make you wonder, just because they're being nice doesn't mean that that's like, they kind of go with the crowd sort of thing. And that may put you at risk and may have already put you at risk. And so you're trying to kind of suss this out. Okay. So if, this person, I feel like we kind of understand this person's vibe, but I'm going to go ahead and say now, I'm going to ask the spirit, like, okay, so if you dropped like a get real, you know, in the conversation, like say what you came to say or don't, like if you kind of like threw the gauntlet down, then what is this person going to say? Like, are they going to start admitting things? Are they going to like, what is this person going to do then? Oh my gosh, with the Wheel of Fortune. Notice how there's multiple people on this card listening in on the phone. That is the energy that I'm getting. I don't necessarily feel that there's multiple people listening on the phone, although there could be. So this person might well be a betrayer, like a very friendly betrayer, or it's like maybe there is an agenda here. Like I feel like that's, look, the Wheel of Fortune. So that's maybe even spiritual energy. Also, remember I said like I'm going to like take control of this conversation, but we're divining with spirit. And so I feel like if you did say something like that, that may be like spiritually kind of guided to just like kind of force this person's hand and like put them back in a corner of like, say what you fucking came to say. And notice how these people are like scrambled. They're like really weren't expecting you to kind of like say that. What do I say in order, because that's what this person is. So this is kind of telling me this isn't a genuine conversation. I'm not saying the feelings here aren't necessarily genuine, but the conversation that this person has initiated is not genuine. And you'll probably get that sense because they're trying to bring about a certain outcome. They're trying to elicit certain emotions. And you know what? That's reminding me of whatever the fuck happened in the past, where there was some type of, I'm just seeing you facing off with like a Pluto energy. Somebody that was clearly like tight up like a ball, wanted some type of power, hid their face in order to try and ambush you or surprise you or something like that. And Scorpionic energy, like that Pluto, it's interesting because it's not like the energy when we learn about it in astrology of Scorpio. It's like, okay, well, it's hidden and it's strategic. And so we kind of like picture it as this like kind of dark, brooding sort of character. But in reality, that strategic element of Scorpio where it's very observant, it sits and it's like kind of observes. So when it interacts in a strategic manner, that strategy can take on a different form. And I say this in the Patreon reading because it came out this week for the Patreon reading that's going to come out tomorrow for those of you that are there. And I'm kind of connecting with that. So maybe I don't remember what pilot was or what we were talking about. It's just coming through now. So maybe there's like a connection for some of you, but that person can present as like all bubbles and sunshine, but still be in that scorpionic energy, but they've just observed enough about you to think that that's maybe what's going to work here. So it tells me they're trying to get you to admit something or finesse something or whatever. So they're like, so this disingenuous conversation is going to continue, this like highly manipulative conversation. Again, I feel like this is probably a person who is well-intentioned enough. Like they tell themselves that at the very least, like I want to be friendly with this person or I want to maneuver this person into a friendly space. But it's like, they're still not being a friend because they can't be honest and they can't be non-manipulative. Like in order to, it's like the end and the means are one. So your distrust is validated here, like in the way this person's like sort of approaching you. And I do think you'd catch on to it. Like I'm seeing your little ears kind of perk up where you're like, okay, you're not being free flowing. You're not being honest. You have to maybe check your notes or like check in with like other people that are somehow invested in this conversation. But maybe these are people that like you for sure are not talking to. So this person is like kind of, it feels like a double agent. Maybe this is a people pleaser. People pleasers are manipulative. You know, they're usually double agents a lot of times, like, because to them, they're like, I just want everybody to have sunshine and rainbows, you know, and it's like, okay, but the way to do that is by respecting other people. But this person has chosen to respect one side and then be manipulative towards you in order to manipulate out to the agenda, because somebody's agenda here is, well, I just want this person to talk to me. But really, in reality, that's an unsafe person. So like they're working for the wrong team, really, this person. So like, let's see. So you caught him off guard there when you're like, okay, so like, why did you call me? What do you really want? Say the thing that you really fucking mean. I'm really not impressed by your nice girl or nice guy act here. Like, I'm actually like more disgusted. You're actually pushing me away because you're not being honest and you're not being upfront. And that's what I need to rebuild the trust here. So I don't think that you would say any of that. You might, like, if it gets to the point here where there's a long pause or something where you're just kind of explaining to this person why. I feel like maybe this conversation would actually tip you over to the edge of like, actually, I don't like you. Actually, I don't trust you. Actually, I can't be around you because there is no foundation for like friendship here. And maybe in real time, you would actually start explaining that to this person, like why exactly they've rubbed you the wrong way and why exactly you don't want to be around them. And they were the best part of the other group. So that's clear. It should be clear why you don't want to be, it's like they're the best that last group like that you were in had to offer. So you're really not interested in the other people in that group either. So what else would this person say? Okay, I just heard blindsided and I saw this person like tear up. I feel like that was just a mirror to this person because they don't see themselves clearly. They see themselves as like the good person in the group and that they have the highest and noblest like not expectations but like desires, and they really don't. This is kind of like a selfishness, and this person doesn't see too deeply into people and they don't see like very clearly, and so they kind of become a useful idiot. And I think this person like is sort of getting that picture like from you that they're actually not as nice as they think they are, and that's hurtful for them to kind of, because they know that you're telling the truth and they know that they now in this conversation, I feel like this person understands that they are the one that stepped on your boundary. And I don't think this person is quite reflective enough in the right way, because like when they think about whatever happened in the past, they're like, okay, these two people like need to be able to talk to each other. But then this person doesn't know a lot about that because they would have to keep peeling back the layers of the onion. Okay, well, what does it take for two people to talk to one another? They have to both be safe people, and that is not what you are dealing with here. Like the base elements is not what you have. One person that is very unsafe and selfish, and they have an agenda and they're going to interact that, and they'll put on whatever mask. And so like whenever they're being nice to like this person to manipulate them behind the scenes, that's just them wearing a mask and finessing. And you don't want to be around finessers, you know, and you shouldn't want to be around finessers. But this person's not there yet. Like they're really not on that level, but they can't, I feel like this is meant to be a reflection that like they are really not as high in energetic vibration as they think they are, because they're a mechanism. They're a useful idiot for negative people. And they are the ones that, they contribute to unsafe environments because they don't help to keep people safe, because they're not like a good filter for people, and they don't question people, because I think this person maybe thinks it's rude to question people and to kind of press like a presentation that someone's kind of giving, because you recognize that somebody here is false. Like the presentation that they're giving is not the way that they really are. And this person won't ever press. They won't ever question kind of what's coming through, which makes them an agent of the dark. It makes them a useful idiot, and it makes them a weapon, basically, a liability for you to have around. And I think this is like, I think this person's like very sad. And in the shock of that emotion, I think, I still feel this person's not entirely mad at you though, because they do hear, they're kind of recognizing the truth, but it's like this person always stops themselves from being able to realize the truth. So what else did this person say? I feel like it would kind of like clog up their throat, you know, where this person, like, all of a sudden it's like, cat got your tongue. And because I think they're not used to you being rude, but this is the thing. It's like, you're being rude to the other person because this person's under their control. And so it's like, I think you're kind of throwing down the gauntlet, and it's like, you need to be free of manipulative influence, and you need to fully bring yourself to the table to where I can interact with you. But if you want to be under the thumb of like whatever that group was, then I'm going to talk to you the way that I would talk to that group, because you're an agent of that group. So like, even though like our relationship would be different if you could be free of influence, you see what I'm saying? It's like, you're not free of influence. So like, I'm putting up the same harsh boundary that I would put up for those people, you know? This person's kind of a shield, I think, like for this like other group or whatever. I am going to tap into that other group because there's clearly not just one single intention here about like why this person would be calling you. So, okay, anything else that this person would say? I think we've just kind of stunned them a bit into a corner. Oh my gosh. Okay. So like the other people that are around, it's funny because like it automatically switched to like the other people. So the other people that are around are like, oh my gosh, that didn't work. And like you have asserted like your sense of self-sovereignty, but like those are all the mean girls in the background, right? And like Katie is like wearing the crown, but she's also in her like, I'm a regular normal person kind of like get up there. And it's just kind of like happy and free. So like notice like everybody else there is like, like in their like attitude. And there's like maybe a ringleader here that is, like super pissed, like actually like super angry, but they're like, cause they wanted you to be in this like emotional state. And what's funny is I feel like you kind of ricocheted that back where you're not in this emotional state, but the attack dog that doesn't realize that they're the attack dog, cause they're just so sweet, you know, they're just a poodle, you know, but they sent that person in to, as a front, as their manipulative arm, you know, that person's actually emotional cause they're like, oh my God, you're slipping away. And I think that's what this person, I don't know that this person's really, thinking in a way that is going to help them unpack this at all. I really don't. I think this person's like, oh my God, like I don't know what to say. Like now I'm hurt emotionally. And it's like, this person doesn't have a leg to stand on to even be able to repair your relationship because they would really want to. This person that's calling you, they would actually really want to repair your relationship. They don't want to see you hurt. And I think they're really shocked at the way that you see them. But I think that they are a little bit starting to understand and grasp that that is the way that they've been acting. And that they have actually posted up with a bunch of like mean people who don't respect other people's boundaries. And if you don't respect other people's boundaries, you're not a safe person to be in social relationship with. But this person's like around them. And I think they don't realize quite how much they were used and how much these people, you've already ended their relationship. So they have every reason to expect that like you would end their relationship with this person. But this person's not considered and cared for over here by this. They were used as a pawn, basically. Like this person, I don't think can realize that they were used as a pawn and that these people who are probably going to comfort them in a manipulative way afterwards, like, oh my God, they were so rude to you, you know, and now you know what it feels like. No, if this person had been themselves and if they had been a real person and not under manipulative influence and were more scrutinizing about the kind of people that they'll have around them, they would not be in this energy because you would have said, you know, hey, maybe we can meet up sometime, because you would have been able to kind of slowly feel out whether or not this person is a puppet of whatever the fuck this is. Because they are. The answer to the question that you're looking for is that they are an agent of this. They are not coming to you neutrally. They are not coming to you without agenda. It is not really about just connection here. There's a deeper agenda. And so, yeah, I think like they're going to try to like then manipulate this person. And I think you just kind of have to let this person go. This is the kind of person that doesn't ever make up their own mind. They don't lead their own life. They don't, you know, so I think in the grand scheme of things, you probably will be better off from, I think it's sad because I do think this person's like a genuine person, but I think again, like this is the door that the snakes get in. And so I think, you know, they're going to be like, see, they're going to all try to paint you as like the mean person. So what else gets said here then in this phone conversation? I think they're going to try to speed things up. Like, okay, hurry before like, you know, because I think they think that the conversation is going to end soon. They're defensive though. And you've kind of, okay, so in that energy, it's like there's a stunned sort of energy of like, so what else is said here? I think it just put an end to their like scheme. I think they're going to try to like, again, point to your behavior, but it's your scrutinizing behavior that they're going to try to warp and try to make it seem like you are the mean girl. When in fact, I think that you were sweet and innocent. And this is like, the group is going to try to use their strength in numbers to make it seem like you were the person that was in the wrong. And it's like, see, this is why, like, because you're so mean. But in actuality, you're defensive, you're protective, you're smart, you're sensing that there's like something not quite right here. You stood up for yourself. And these are all the things that this person should have really been able to do for themselves. And it's really sad that they're kind of like stuck in this, but it's also not your fight really. So I think they're going to be manipulative and tell you that something needs to change and that you are like abusive. But all the while, this is kind of, they're abusing you, like really in that conversation. And you are going to show like a lot of inner strength. And I'm getting this like mic drop energy from you. And I think this person that they sent after you, because I'm noticing they both have like purple shirts on. I feel like this is the same kind of like energy here, where it's like, okay, I don't really belong here. I don't really go here. Because I think this person's kind of like, I'm too sweet for this, where you're strong. Like you actually have this inner strength. They're mean. Mean and strong are not the same things. So like this group that you moved away from, they're mean, they're catty. They were trying to sabotage you. They were trying to either maybe get in your head and like erode your confidence. They were trying to move you and you stood strong. And that's what you should do. And you're able to hold your own against, I think, multiple of these people. I'm seeing like a Hydra head, so like you're able to hold your own against that. And this other weak person is like, I really don't belong here, actually. Like, because this is why I'm saying is like when I grew up in a Christian tradition. And when you look really at the story of Jesus was like he was the lion and the lamb, right? But if you only understand him through one of those lenses, you miss like the complete picture. So he's not just the lamb. He's the lion too. And like this person is always the lamb. And I think they think that that's like the good energy. I'm just always the lamb. I'm always sweet. I never raise my voice. I'm never a contender for goodness. Jesus was a contender for goodness, and like that's the kind of energy that I'm getting from you, where you are bringing out that strength energy, where they're bringing the mean energy. So it becomes this kind of like fight. Because they're using sabotaging techniques. They're trying to manipulate. They're trying to warp like what's actually going on here and like their actual intentions. And like, because their entire approach is fucked up. Like the way that they've approached you in a non-direct way, because they can't approach you directly because I feel like you've laid down some type of boundary here. So it would be obvious that they are crossing some type of boundary. But if they send their minion in, then like there's a whole bunch of like psychological wiggle room. In reality, there's not. It's the same energy. It's just like once removed. And they're only doing that to hide their true intentions. Okay. And I just feel like you're not playing the game anymore. Like these people cannot be honest and straightforward and direct. And above all else, like they don't respect people's boundaries and like their, and basic like social cues. Like they just don't. So I feel like this is going to, end in a tower moment. And really, I feel like you have a victory here. You have a victory here. And yeah. I just feel like you have a victory here and like it puts a spotlight here on this person. And basically that's what would happen when they called you. So let me just see like anything else that wants to come through here about like this phone conversation. This to me seems like these people didn't really understand you, like your heart or your core energy. They and then had the nerve to act like surprised or like that you had switched up. But really these are people that are always manipulative and trying to enact their own agendas, that they never look too closely at like one particular individual kind of a thing. So they entirely misread you and the situation. They miscalculated and really they're mad at themselves. But this is like a natural consequence for living in that energy. It's bound to happen sooner than later. And I think it's probably happened before. But there's something about you that I feel like these people actually have this weird, like unhealthy fixation around you where like you're the blueprint is what I'm getting. Or like you're something that they aspire to. Like I think they really admire you and like your energy and want to be around you and they want to be associated with you. Because I think that's like you're considered the cool kid or like you bring some level of fascination or interest or something here like that. And so they have more of like they've done this to other people is kind of what I'm getting, who did have enough sense to like walk away from them, but they want to be around you. So they focus more on you, if that makes sense, because you're seen as like cool to them or something. Okay, so anything else? Yeah, I feel like you really want this phone conversation to end, to be honest. Ew, I feel like they try to like use some type of rule system. They're trying to play chess here, and they've already lost because they have not built their actions and their foundation and their logic on any kind of real logos. Like they've built their house on stand already from the jump, basically. But then they are trying to use like the rule book as a tactic later on. Like, so they didn't build foundationally from the rule book that they maybe think is important to you or something, or maybe important to the group, where it's like they're trying to throw the book at you kind of a thing. But it's falling flat, and it makes these people look a type like stupid, I think, like stupid that's trying to be smart, because they're trying to then throw the rule book at you, a rule book that they don't know inside and out, but you probably do, a rule book that they didn't build from the beginning. So there's this mismatch. There's this disjointed energy where it's like they've clearly broken their rules in worse way, and they misunderstand. I don't know. It just feels like, again, it's their attempt to like isolate you. And I think maybe it has something to do with teamwork and cooperation and like social skills, where it's like, well, you're not being very social. And it's like these people don't understand that like they are one aspect of your entire social life. And so they are the one aspect that you've closed the door and say, I don't interact socially with these people. But there's a lot of other social relationships and friendships that you flourish in. And so and other people know like the full sides of you. So you're not falling for their lies that you are antisocial or that you don't follow like social rules and laws. You know that this is an isolated incident with this particular kind of person because they don't know how to act. And you know the specific ways in which these people don't know how to act. You know exactly why you are not interacting with these people. And you know that they continue to prove you correct. Even if they're not going to hear it, you're not trying to create a case for people that can't hear truth, that are so manipulative that it's like they're always just listening to like respond and like defend themselves and to weasel around. They are never trying to understand the actual base reality or like the actual truth of the situation, because they know that they're going to lose. They want to win. Like more than that's the crux of their non-cooperative attitude. They just want to win. They just want to dominate you. They just want to be seen as better than you. They just want to not have to save face, like, and feel like they were embarrassed or that they were outdone by you, or that everybody in the group is like kind of realizing their faults. They're desperate not to do that. And so I think they think that this is like advisable. They think that this is like a better way of going about things. But you know that like somebody who is not debating with you to try to actually understand, and like not just you, but like to try to understand socialness, and how to be healthy and social at the same time, you're never going to get anywhere with that person. You're never, ever going to convince them. It's a waste of time. You just know that. There's something about this person where you just from the jump know that they're a lost cause. And so, yeah, you don't invest anything. And it's like, they're like, well, you're not very social. Like, you don't have any friends. And it's like, I'm not friends with you. And that doesn't mean that I don't have other friends and other relationships that are much, much different than this, because I'm dealing with different people, that are healthier. And those relationships are healthier. And yeah, so I feel like honestly, I don't see this conversation going on for very long, because you're probably just going to hang up. Especially once that influence starts to kind of like chime in. Right. And that person that is a nice person, they're still a betrayer. And I think like that's the heartbreak. That's the unfortunate thing that's going to come out of this conversation, is you're going to realize, as sweet as you are a useful idiot for the darkness. And I can't have it around me. Like, you're a betrayer. Like, you continue to betray me, so you're not a good friend either. Because just simply like having positive intentions for everybody, you can't realize your positive intentions because you can't assess the terrain. You have to be able to assess the terrain to bring about any kind of result that you want, whether it's a positive result or a negative result. And this person refuses to accurately assess the terrain, because they would have to be questioning and they would have to be scrutinizing. And if they were scrutinizing towards the people that they're aligned with, they would make the same moves and the same decision that you made. And they would realize that they have to be strong and they have to make a stand against people like that. And if they're going to have people like that around them, it will sabotage healthier relationships. And I think that's their karma here as well. Yeah. So, yeah, they're going to piss you off. They're going to have this like elaborate plan. And notice like in this scene, she's like, they've been drinking, right? And so it's like, okay, this is all going to go like a certain way. but it's like they sober up real quick and they realize that they've puked on your shoe and they've really pissed you off. And that the thing that you liked about them to begin with was not this weird show that you're putting on where she's at the height of her like plastic, right? He liked Katie that came from the jungle and wore oversized shirts. He liked her, you know? And so this like whole thing, it's like, I feel like that is kind of, this is like a train wreck, like sort of waiting to happen. So that was pile number one. And what this person would say or do if they called you right now. And then again, I feel like this person would just pray to God at the end of this. Like the nice person, I think, would actually pray to God at the end of this. Like, oh my God, please repair this relationship. And Spirit has been trying to tell this person time and time again, you need to repair the relationship. And the way that you repair the relationship is seeing who you've teamed up with and asking these scrutinizing questions, really seeing the truth, because the truth would lead you to believe that your noble goal of getting everybody to reconcile is not a noble goal at all, because what you're doing is you're reconciling an abuser with their victim. So everybody's not going to get along sunshine and rainbows. You've just ensured that somebody can continue to be abused. That was your role in that situation, and I'm going to need you to get with the program. I'm going to need you to see that clearly, okay? That your goal ain't noble. Your intentions might be, but like you need to acquaint yourself with reality. Okay. So Lisa, thank you so much for the super chat. Spot on. I've closed the door on people who choose to misunderstand me. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So if you have just joined us now, you have joined us at a great time because we just finished pile number 1, which is the temple, and we are moving on to the dead end here momentarily after we compassion that energy. Compassion. Because everybody's on their journey trying to figure life out and themselves out and everything. Ultimately, we have differences in integrity. I value it as a principle and it guides my life. They do not. My fault and not my fault and not my problem. Exactly. Okay, so let me just put some lipstick on. Gonna put my lip gloss on. Okay. So we'll leave that up here for a moment. Actually, I'll have a little drink. Little drinky drink. Oh. I knocked over some cards over there. Okay. So if you are ready, then I am ready. Let us move to pile number 2, the dead end. Dun, dun, dun. I feel like that energy coming through. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So Spirit, let's check the caller ID. Who is coming through here in pile number 2? All right, Spirit. Who is coming through in pile number 2? Who is this? This is making me want to laugh for some reason because I really like this person actually, and I really like their energy. I think for some of you, the energies might be reversed in this one. Let me just double check here. Yeah. Okay. So this is a person who walked away from you. And they walked away because there was some type of like negative attachment or like devilish energy that you were involved in. And this person turned away because they're more mature than what was presented here, and they're wiser, and they chose to be alone. But I feel like this was also like kind of maybe divinely guided by Spirit to get you to reflect and to turn inwards and like reflect on the situation. So kind of what I'm getting, and the reason that I'm laughing is because this person is like, I would never call you. Like this person, they have too much self-respect. And especially like in the face of like whatever came through in this situation. Oh my gosh, I'm hearing a Beyonce song. You showed your ass and I saw the real you. thank God you blew it. Thank God I dodged a bullet. I'm so over you, so baby, good looking out. Like this person has a little spice to them, but honestly, it's not even like spice, it's like in your face. This person's like very self-contained. They're very mature. And I just feel like they truly believe. I'm not saying that this person wasn't hurt, because I feel like actually they were hurt, and they are maybe more hurt than like they even let on, because I actually feel like this is a strong person, but they're also soft at the same time, because this is like I heard this is a real bitch. Like this is a real person. Okay. Like this is somebody who has everything to give. And I think you kind of knew that, to be honest. And maybe you tried to muck this person around. Like you tried to play in their energy, or you tried to play in their face is what I'm getting. And I don't know exactly why that is. And I think Spirit is wanting you to reflect on why that is. But I think that you know that you got what you deserved in this situation, or like you got what you gave in this situation, that if this person was the way that you kind of know them to be, they would have done nothing else other than to really just like walk away and say like, thank you next, from this situation. But I do think that they were a little bit more hurt, but this is hurt like, because they were really trying to make a connection with you. Like, but not just with you, it's like with anybody that they meet, they're genuinely trying to connect. So, if they were giving you their time, or giving you their energy, or like opening up a little bit, or if they were kind of thinking, oh, maybe this could go somewhere, like it's so genuine, like coming from this person's side of things. But so this person's basically saying that I would never call you. But this person is so funny, like their facial expressions and stuff, because they're just like, ugh. They're basically like, okay, so Jess dropped me into this like imaginary scenario. Like, what if I called you? Okay, so let's say that I butt dial you on accident, and it comes up that it's my name, and like you know that it's me. Okay, and let's assume that I don't just hang up right away. Okay, I'm just seeing this person sit there silently, like in dead silence, and not say anything. Like I'm seeing you be like, hello, like so and so, is that you? Like you're trying to like figure out what's like exactly going on here. And I feel like your head is kind of like spinning, because you don't know, like, I think you were like excited that this person's calling, but then like also confused, and you sit on this precipice of like excited, confused, trying to figure out like what's kind of going on. And then you get just like nothing from this person, like a dead wall. They don't even say hello. They don't even acknowledge that they're like really on the other end. And this person, again, they're giving me a little bit of a smirk. And it's because I think this person is communicating. Like this person is deep. Okay. Like there's kind of a depth here, and there's a congruence between this person's actions and their mind and their thoughts and their feelings. It's an agreement. Like this person's actions are in alignment with, like their ideals and like their values, maybe not always with their emotions. Cause I think they prefer to get themselves back to a place where it's like their emotions and their ideals and their actions are all in alignment. But again, sometimes this person can get put in situations where their emotions are like impacted, but they have this ideal of their values and the kind of person that they want to be. And they'll act from that space, especially in the moment. And that may have thrown you off about this person, because I think maybe you were thinking about this person as being emotional. And why wouldn't you? Because this person is genuine in their emotions. But then all of a sudden that spigot got shut off. And I think you were thinking that this person was more emotional and more led by their emotions than they actually are, when this is a person who's really led by their values, and they're led by what they want in life. And they'll kind of like suss out and just kind of be like, oh, okay, this isn't the person that I thought. This isn't the path that I thought that it was. And so I'm going to shut this down now before any more heartbreak ensues. And they can be really logical about that, but it's something different than logic too. It's Venus. It's like, it's a values kind of energy. And I think that that's what you were kind of confronted with. But I think what this person is like wanting you to notice in this reading, and that's like kind of what the smirk is. And like, where I'm not giving up anything. Like I'm not saying anything. You can even drop me into this scenario of like, well, what would happen if I called you? And it's like, what would happen if I called you is I would still not say shit, because, it's like this person is speaking with their actions. And I think they want you to notice that. Like they're speaking with their actions. So it's like this person sort of realizes the moment they start speaking to you, it says that they care. Like it says that they like are after some type of connection with you. That's why they would have a conversation with you, or like some type of back and forth, is because they need something. They need some type of like clarity, and they don't. It's not that this person's not confused about like why you were the way that you were, why you were acting like you were on the same page as them, but maybe even the same level of maturity as them, or like they kind of don't need the answer, because at the end of the day, the answer was no. Like the answer is that it wasn't what it said it was. This person, it's sad. They lost like the time there, but they kind of have all the closure that they really need from it. And in order to ascertain like that it's a no from them. So it's not necessarily that that there's not like a certain level of confusion here. Like, why did you do this to me? Like, why do you choose to be this way? Like, why, what do you get out of this? Like kind of thing. But I think this person kind of knows that like, oh, I'm a better person than you. I'm sorry if this is harsh, but it's like they just kind of realize that they weren't thinking about you like that until you showed your ass in some way. And so they kind of know that. But like this person would sit silently on the phone because it's kind of like, are you gonna say something? If you want something from me, like if you want to hear from me, or if then you're gonna start the conversation. And not only that, but you're gonna dive right into everything that I want to hear from you. You are going to dive into, you're not going to beat around the bush like pile number one. Like you're not going to because otherwise it's a click. It's like an immediate click from this person. But if you want to start being like, hey, hello. Okay, right. Surprised to hear that you called me because of who I am. Not the way I acted even. The way I acted betrayed who I really am on the inside. And I was hiding that from you. And I was hiding that because I had a certain kind of goal. Like this person wants to hear. Exactly. Like, and not even because they're going to then start talking and because they're not, it's like going to revolve around. It's like, this person just kind of wants to know if you've changed or not, I guess. Like maybe there's a little bit of curiosity here. And I think a lot of that curiosity has to do with, the human condition. Like they're wanting to know if people really can change kind of a thing. There's a morbid curiosity. There's kind of a morbid curiosity because of like, there's a morbid curiosity here with your energy, because of what you did. And because of how convincing you were that you were bright or like genuinely interested in them or like genuinely trying to make a connection. Not even like, because I really feel like, okay, so if this is like a romantic thing, and I kind of feel like, like I said, for a lot of you, I think the energies are flipped here. So like if this was a guy, then it's like, they kind of feel like, okay, like this is a guy that just wanted sex. And, but they really didn't get that at first. Like, it's not that they didn't think that you wanted it. It's just that they thought that you wanted something else too. Like that you were genuine and that you wanted to do that with people that you liked, like that you have like some type of connection with. And so I think this person is just utterly confused because you operate in a way that is totally different than the way that they operate, but also they didn't really catch it at first. And I think this person knows that like people can trick them. I don't even think that this person has a chip on their shoulder about that. Like this person knows that if you're angling to trick somebody, that yeah, they're bound to be tricked for a certain amount of time, And so, but I think there's this sort of morbid fascination. So they would just kind of sit there and listen. If you wanted to spill the beans, then you would be free to do so, But it's kind of a dead end here, like with this person. Because they're like, you have a whole, like, it feels like maybe this was like one thing. Like maybe you're thinking about this. This also kind of came out a little bit in the Patreon reading. But I think you're thinking about this as like one thing. I did this one thing. And I do think that it was one thing where like, you showed your ass and they saw the real you. But I'm seeing like, when like a shark kind of crests and you can see their fin and you're like, oh, that's a shark. But I'm just seeing your ass, like just a full moon, just like crest above the water, just shoo. And they're like, oh, that's a shark. They're like, I saw a hole. Okay, that's a full-blown shark over there. They just saw a little bit. Okay, and then they know that underneath the water, it's a body of a shark. Like that's the kind of thing that happened here. So for you, you're thinking that it was just like one kind of momentary, one blue moon in time. But like this person is like, yo, that is a full shark. So they're thinking you have a whole lot of responsibility that you have to clear up. There's a lot of things you need to answer for, that you need to explain why you're this way, why you're that way, because they know automatically. It's like they knew a whole host of other information. They saw what they needed to see in order to like sort of map you in a kind of way. Okay, so what would this person say? This person's really not going to say much. If this person continues not to say much, I'll push the conversation along kind of like I did in pile number one. Well, I'll just kind of drop in like, what if you said this? Or what if you said like the thing that I know that they kind of need to hear here to kind of bait them into a conversation. But okay, so like what else would this person say? Okay, I'm more hearing questions in this person's mind where they're listening. They're listening for you to like to see if you're going to open your mouth and what kinds of things you're going to start saying. But if you were to start saying the truth, okay? So this person has questions. So one is they're listening for feeling words, like how you were feeling, but that they're not listening too deeply because that I think they're going to just readily dismiss. Even if you were to be like, I really had feelings for you, I really love you, or I really loved this person and I was confused about this or that. Like this person's just kind of, they're listening for it, but they're just going to kind of like, they don't believe you, and they don't put too much stock in it. And pay attention to why, because remember how I told you like who this person is? This person they're very not homogenous, but they're like very congruent. They're very aligned. They're, this is not one, they are in resonance with themselves. Like they like for their emotions to be in resonance with their virtues and their values and their actions. They like all those things to be. But remember, I told you, if this person's emotions get out of whack because they know that they're not an all powerful being in the universe. They even know this person's very mature. So like they even know that like they can be mature in love and still be tricked by somebody. And they know that doesn't really say anything bad about them because they were dealing with a person whose full intention and everything that they were doing was hell bent on hiding things and tricking things. And so they know that there's people like that. And there's almost nothing you can do like at first, but you can always become aware of it and then move away. And that's what this person does. And I think that they have actually built a lot of trust with themselves and a good track record that they actually do know that that is a value that they have and that they move away from it. So remember I said like if they're put in a situation where their emotions are kind of like, I really felt something, but and I haven't really processed all the way through that, they go with their values. They go with their principles. So that's what I'm saying. Like this person will listen for your feelings because it's a part of the equation. But then again, they're kind of listening to their values. But this person's also listening to the things that you hid, you know. So they're listening for things that they didn't already know and that they haven't really put together, or things that like add that. And they're not just listening to that for the answers. They're listening to that because they think that you're slippery, and they think that they know this is a very smart person. Okay. Like this is a person who I think there's a bit of disrespect here from them to you, because they could be exactly like you, but 10 times worse. And what I mean by worse is like they could be 10 times more effective than you, because that's how smart this person is. And like they could be a really good liar. And I think they have, like, maybe they know that. Like, I just feel like this person knows that in some type of way. And so they know how they would lie in this situation. They know if they were caught, they know the variables. This person's like a tactician. They're like a general. So it's like they and it's not even like they spend a lot of time doing this. They just sort of automatically know the variables that are out on the table. They know the one moment where they saw your blue moon, right? Like above so they know you both know that that's the thing that they saw. Or maybe they don't quite, maybe they might even not be sure that you are sure what moment that they actually caught a glimpse of, because like I said, this person is like a general. This person is a good tactician. So for some of you, they caught something, they saw something, it might've been small, and something all of a sudden changed with this person and you didn't know what they saw, but they saw something and they knew enough to keep it to themselves because they knew that that's leverage. They wanted to see how you would interact with them, to see if you were knowingly, like if maybe you were interested in them, but then like suddenly something changed and that's why they saw you with that other person, kissing them or like texting them or whatever. Or if you were a little sneak the whole time, they're going to hold that information close to their chest. They're just going to watch the way that you're maneuvering so that you give away a lot more than you kind of realize. So by the time you're having a conversation with this person, you need to realize they know things that you don't know that they know. And then for these people, they would know where to press, where to go, potentially to get more information that's secret. So you don't really know how much this person knows. And they're going to leverage that the same way that you leverage something against them. Because kind of what I'm getting is that I think what you leveraged against them, this isn't true for everybody. You leverage something against them. A kind of friendliness, maybe like being in their friend group, you leveraged against them. That's kind of what I'm getting. But I was going to say another thing that like maybe for some, it's like you knew very well that this person was kind of a great person to be with, like the cream of the crop. But you sort of also could see into the future that if you pursued this person in a genuine way, that the answer was going to be no. I think that's still true. Like if you leveraged like their friend group or like being in their friend group to try to get close to this person or take advantage of this person when they were in a weak state or a vulnerable state or when their guard was down, this person like knows that that's a weaselly thing to do and they don't like you. Like so don't confuse yourself that that's why they were involved with you because they were drunk or like they were schmoozed up or you were in their group of friends so they felt like they could trust you. So yeah, you did bypass like some of their filters, but they learned that from you. And I feel like this person learns really quick. And again, they don't hate themselves for it either. They don't sit there and think like that they were really weak. Maybe in the moment when they were kind of processing through, because this person really does try not to hurt other people and they try to make sure that they're not hurt. But I think that they learned really quickly and they kind of realized that there's nothing that they could have done. Like this person has a lot of maturity is just the way it's coming through, but a lot of love for themselves, like a lot of care and compassion for themselves. But yeah, so I think that you knew that if you pursued this person in a genuine way, sooner or later it was going to be a no. And you leveraged that against this person because this person was being authentic and you were not being authentic. So you were trying to hide aspects of yourself. And the fact that you knew that you weren't what this person was looking for or good enough for this person, you tried to hide it just long enough to get a shot in or like whatever it was that you were doing. But you showed your ass and they saw the real, like, that's what this person thinks about you too. It's like whatever this ass moment was, like, that's what they think about. That's the real you that they think that they saw in you. So, yeah, this person, they're also listening to how you see them, because I think this person thinks that because you did what you did, you saw them as weak and that you saw them as vulnerable, but like also that they had the potential to be kind of like stronger because you were trying to keep them from accessing certain information. And you don't do that if you think somebody's too stupid to put it together or too weak to actually like take a stand. So this person's kind of trying to figure out like, how were you viewing this person? And I think you actually did, you knew that you had to manipulate this person in some way. And I hope if this energy is flipped for you, I hope that you understand that means that they saw you as this person didn't like, this is a predator, and to a predator, everybody's like prey, you know? I think this person doesn't see themselves as a predator because it's like, there is something here that's not pure darkness. It's not pure malevolence. It's not pure evil, but it is just so selfish. It's just really unempathetic. It's so non-cooperative, and it has like a chip on its shoulder. If you're dealing with a man here, I know this is like not like we're a little bit off the beaten path, but like if you're dealing with a man here, I just feel like there's a way that this man interacted with patriarchy. And I do mean that. This is like perpetually Peter Pan, like kind of stuck in the little boy. Peter Pan might not be the right thing, you know, of them never wanting to grow up. They're stuck in Mars energy. And there's just a way that adolescent mind interacted with the patriarchy and like their version of manhood, which I think has a lot to do with dominance. Like they got that early on. And so there was a way that this person's mind interacted with child rearing, like when they were an adolescent and still required child rearing. Like they got old enough to kind of understand that they didn't always have to obey their parents, like if they lied. And I feel like they got addicted to that because this is a little boy that, you know how like we all go through the phase where like, I'm a grown up. That energy is different actually for a feminine energy under patriarchy because of the way that we're raised, where feminine energy is like raised with like responsibilities. So it's like a lot for us. It's like, well, I can do this on my own, you know, and I can do that on my own. And like, actually you really kind of can't, but that's the way like little girls kind of tend to go towards like, well, I can be a grown up. I can be trusted on my own. I can look after my little sister, like my little sibling. I'm old enough to make these kinds of like decisions. I can prepare dinner. I can, you know, like I can be trusted around like the stove and things. Well, a little bit of that will happen with like the little boys, but I'm kind of getting that like I'm a man. Men under a patriarchal society, they dominate, right? That's how they like, and so they felt that they were dominating their parents every time they would say like, yeah, you know, when I stayed over at my friend's house, you know, we weren't out past 12. We were home by 11, like I said that I was going to do, knowing full well that they were out past because their parents are a little more lenient. And so they kind of knew that like they could lie and get away with stuff. And so they didn't allow themselves to be parented and child reared after a certain point. And I think this maybe it tipped over to their coaches and their teachers. And they felt like that was them being grown. And really, it's a lack of humility. And they actually, they're going to get to the stage where they don't understand, like what I'm saying is like, they don't understand that was for their own good. So this person like stopped learning at a certain point. And this is a person who, so we talk about this a lot, the masculine path. I'm talking here specifically if this is a man that's like, you know, if these energies are flipped, because I think for a lot of you they are. So they're all ruled over by Mars, which is a malevolent. And there's a challenge there where they have to actually put effort into growing and changing and becoming something different. They have to first learn how to purify their Mars, which is an incredibly powerful thing to learn how to do because you'll learn how to clear a lot of karmas. And then you either become Jupiter or the sun. And in which case you learn about value and like how you produce value and you learn how to like yourself, but it all happens like kind of so subtly where you don't even realize that it's happening. So like say this is a person who's like going on a Jupiter path. Well, so when they're in school and they like learn things, they then apply that knowledge. Even when they're in like, you know, elementary school, junior high, they're able to solve people's problems and people are grateful. And they show that like, wow, I didn't realize that you knew that, or that really helped me out, or like it helped me avoid a problem. And this person's like, cool. And that starts to build a kind of sense of self of like, I'm Jupiter, because Jupiter is, there's wealth, knowledge is wealth, knowledge is, you know, it's a kind of power. It's a power to affect things for people in a positive way and not a sabotaging negative way. And, it builds positive regard because Jupiter is like very positive. So it's like, oh, you're welcome. They have a lot more of those interactions because they're growing in their knowledge and they're applying their knowledge to help people. And it's like, oh, you're welcome. I'm happy that you were happy with me. And so it builds this kind of feedback loop. And then they really like to learn. So they spend less of their time being a pissant on Coney Island with a lot of their idiot friends who the only power that they can really grapple and have really been able to understand is the power to sabotage, lie, hide. And that's their only kind of connect to domination. I feel like that was who this guy was, and is still really. So this is the kind of guy where like even well into adulthood, you would be like, are you a fucking child? Like, are you a child? Because there's basic things that you would have to explain to him. This is reminding me of like Alex had interaction with somebody in the gym the other day where they were in this like small, it's the core workout room where you like work out your core, and it's very small and dark and nobody likes to go in there. But, you go in there to use like certain things. And so Alex has his headphones in, but this kid, he was a grown up, but like younger, and it starts to turn his phone on where it's just blasting in this small space. And Alex just went over and said like, do you have headphones? And he was like, no, but you have headphones. And I think Alex literally said like, are you a child? Like, because this guy was like, well, you have headphones. Like his whole worldview was like, you and everyone else who is in this gym has to go through the effort to be able to afford and maintain headphones and manage their headphones, be able to make sure that make it into your gym bag and that they're cleaned and that they're charged to bring it to the gym so that you can interact in a public space in a way that is considerate and cooperative. And apparently they think that all 100 people that are on the gym floor are doing that so that this one person, the king of all of us, doesn't need to do any of that. The rules are different for him. And also has apparently never used headphones before to understand that, yeah, well, I'm listening to my headphones, but I can still hear your bullshit in the background. Like, but again, and someone really should have taught that grown man that when they were still a child, let alone an adolescent, like that this is the way that you interact. And this is Jupiter energy. This is why child rearing in this way of teaching a child how to interact in a social space is considered protection. It falls under the purview of the father because it's protection, because the eyes are solar. So you have people looking at you like, the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you fully grown? And you need to be walked through this like thought process of how to consider other people. You're a primate. We're a social species. You do not exist in a bubble at all whatsoever. And like this, it's just crazy. Like, I feel like that's the kind of energy here, like that this guy has when in regards to relationships, because he just thinks about this like dominance thing. But the only kind of dominance or power that they've had to affect the world is this sabotaging, undermining power. It's not the positive power that a Jupiterian person and their charity would realize, like, I can affect the world in a powerful way that is positive and that is giving and that is loving and that is expansive. Or like the sun. The sun is somebody who's very warm and like leadership oriented and can illuminate certain things. This person didn't learn ever the power of that because they'd have to purify their own Mars. You have to get over your own selfishness in order to fully participate. So this person hasn't really like, actually learned that. And that's essentially the crux of what went wrong between the two of you. And I think so, like this person, maybe because I just explained all of that. And I didn't even know that I would like had that in the chamber, but I just explained all that. So I feel like this person, like I said, they're very mature and they already know that. And so they're expecting you. I feel like this person, right? They're expecting, I'm saying you, for a lot of you, these energies are flipped, right? But they're expecting you, to enact from that level of consciousness, for you to try to pull the wool over their eyes again, for you to try to dominate them in a different way. They're looking for the virus to adapt. It's a morbid curiosity. They want to sit and watch the virus adapt, but not adapt in a way that is like overcoming its affliction to where it's no longer parasitic. They are watching to see like, how, are you going to cry? Are you going to say that you love them so much? What does somebody who feigns taking responsibility, how do they go about doing it? And this person is doing that quietly to observe you, to adapt right alongside the virus, because this is a virus that's trying to extort. This is like, the person who showed their ass is an exploiter. This is somebody who runs a script to exploit and extract what they want it's not even without regard. I think this person would have to care enough to realize that other people have a whole inner experience, so they're curious about that. Now, when I'm seeing this person kind of sit in silence, like I'm kind of getting they might kind of finesse the conversation along. Just again, they're observing you, like just to keep observing you. I don't think you're going to get what you want out of this person because they're too smart and they're too mature and they already made up their mind about you. And this is a dead end. And it's not like the door's not fully closed, but like you would never like intimacy with this person of any kind. Like, I just mean like you guys, them having, no, I just feel like, this person doesn't think that you're an entire lost cause or anything. They just, it's a no for them. Like, you showed your ass, like, to this person. You really did. Yeah, they really just don't think that you guys are on the same level at all. And that this person takes responsibility for their inner world, but like the immediate world around them, to the degree that they can. And they just feel like it's a no from them. So, okay, what would this person say? Yeah, this person would just say, like, I'm done. Like, I think this person, but again, this person speaks with their actions. Like, this is why they're saying, I would never call you, because I know that I'm done. They would, I think it would leave you confused, and maybe you would think that this person was playing a mind game, but they're not. I think for some of you, this person is your karma. Not your karmic. I think this was probably a soulmate. Like, they're the only person here I'm hearing who's like in soulmate energy. But like I think that you would be confused because the pattern doesn't work. The repertoire doesn't work. The performance doesn't work. The moves don't work, and I think this is the person who's finessed their moves. Like, whereas this person was kind of growing in maturity, that's the way that they applied their, like, I'm finessing and refining this. Somebody here is just like finessed and refined their moves so that they can live the same moment over and over again. And the same moment that this person lives over and over again is the moment of extraction, where they fool somebody in order to extort value or time or an opportunity that they really want and haven't deserved. And but there's no sustaining energy here. And really, truly, this person's never been loved. This, I think, masculine that I'm picking up on, because even though they can convince people, they can elicit smiles from people. They can get people to go on dates with them and sleep with them and, maybe be in relationships with them for a minute, it's never been the real them. So like, they can only elicit like a fake reaction here. This person hasn't really thought about it like that because they just run from themselves. Yeah, I know once. Because even if you, okay, again, I'm flipping back to like this first person perspective. So even if like you, the person I'm calling you in this scenario, were to say like, I have feelings, and maybe you do, and maybe these are even like real, this person would say like, it means nothing. It means nothing because this is your actions. Your actions are so immature, and your actions are flaky, or your actions are not consistent. And so much to how like this person's not going to operate from a place of their feelings, because you might have like strong feelings, especially after this person, like, you showed your ass and they saw the real you, and this person showed their strength and their maturity and you saw the real them. So like, there's exactly one real loss in this situation, and you lost them. They lost a nuisance and a headache and somebody who brings nothing but trouble, and they kind of know it. And it's not that they think that you're the worst person ever either. Like, I think this person makes plenty of room for your humanity, but they're like, it doesn't matter because your actions are this way. You haven't taken the time to purify your actions. And that's a real issue if you're dealing with a man ruled over by Mars that rules over actions. They don't want to start anything with you. They're not confident in anything that you say. This person has an immense amount of inner strength. And in a way, I think for some of you, this is the person that I'm hearing like that there was maybe a father figure or somebody that was like trying to turn this man into a proper man. But that this person refused to allow themselves to be parented. And it's like, in a way, I think it's a feminine energy is the point that the father was trying to make. It's like, look how nice that is. See how that person, they are the answer to this person's manipulation. I feel like that's part of the karmic energy here, where it's like, because they're used to being able to manipulate everybody except for this person. And it's not that this person's invulnerable, and they know it, but they just have a kind of inner strength that it's not like a full immunity, because this person was hurt by this, like really hurt in the moment, but they were able to process it, get over it, and they still like themselves, and they're still going to win at the end of the day. They're still going to, they are going to create a life that has real love and real meaning and real connection. And I think that's part of like what this manipulator person is like afraid of. They're kind of afraid of seeing that mirrored back, because again, everything about their interaction with this person mirrors back to this person that they're the problem, and that they're like kind of a pissant. They think of themselves as being more important than they actually are, or like more capable or more suave or more cool than they actually are. But they weren't finessing and refining and practicing the right things. They really weren't. They were becoming more of a nuisance. They were becoming more of an extractor. And that's what's being like reflected here. Because I think that they saw somebody that actually maybe they want to change for now. It's like, wait, I want to change. I want to catch up. And this person's like, I'm not interested in somebody who has to catch up. I am interested in a full partner, This is a dead end right now. This is fully a dead end, and it's like kind of immovable. It's weird because it's immovable, but there's so much flexibility that this person has baked in around the way that they view this person. They view them through the lens of compassion. There's like a firm compassion here. Hey. Pissant. My dad used to always say the word pissant. Yeah, I think like what this person's basically saying with their language is like, I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be independent. I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to move slow, and I'm going to be happy. I'm going to find happiness. And this was maybe messy, and maybe it involves some type of like party energy, because again, like you used something against this person and they know it. Like you leveraged something here, like against this person, something that really should have been a bonding thing, something that should have been like it should have made things happy and safe and expressive between the two of you, but you used it for this pissant shit. And that's just the nature of who you are, is like what this person's saying. And so this person is like, I forgive you. You probably did that because you're afraid and like, whatever of something inside of you, and like, but yeah, so they're like, this was messy, but I'm moving on from it and I am going to be happy. And I think this person, but in order for me to be happy, I have to block this off, and I have to not view you through like a heart lens, because you will manipulate that space. I've learned it. I think you may have been shocked that this person, it took like one time. Okay, so either like, it could have even been that like, say you went out on a date with this person. Again, I'm using this like you language for who's coming through, but for a lot of you, this energy is flipped. So like, say you went on a first date with this person, and like this person was telling you about themselves, and they were saying that they've been in like, maybe they just got out of a serious relationship, or that they are like a serial monogamous, like where they've had like several serious relationships. So you thought to yourself something incorrect about this person, where you thought, okay, this is like a lover girl. This is somebody who like gets obsessed with like the guy that they're with. There's like a devotional energy is what I mean by like obsession. And so I can kind of play in that space. But there's something where this person learns exactly one time. They just need the one time to learn. So meaning the way that they were in the past in that relationship, it's already changed. And it's made them better and more mature. So they're not going to make the same mistake again in the exact same way. They're not like, and so maybe you thought, oh, like where this person was saying like, say, like I fall in love with potential. And so you're like, okay, so like I just have to show my potential. But this person ended things with you, and you're shocked because they said they fall for potential, and like you were showing that. So you really ham up like, well, I'm not where I want to be exactly right now, but I'm headed in that direction. But this person's like, and so they learned exactly one time. Or like, yeah, maybe they did let their ex dick them around, but there was like insane physical attraction there. And that's the only reason like why, like the sex was really good or something. Like it was their exact perfect physical type. And so then you go and like you start to kind of do the same things that their ex did, because somehow they told you about it, or you saw or you knew that about this person, and it doesn't, like you just fall immediately flat on your face, and you're like, well, I just thought that that's who you were. And it's like you didn't realize that like that ex actually had the special like key, they had the special ingredient that actually made this person kind of go crazy for the catnip, and that you don't necessarily have it. I feel like there was like some type of rejection here, where like you were kind of thinking that like this person was going to be like a certain way, but again, it took only exactly one time. Like either it was like that particular ex had that one thing, and you thought that it was like more of a broad pattern, but it was actually like they had a really spicy sex life, and either you didn't have sex with them, and so like they're not nipping for you in that way, or they don't feel that way towards you, or like this person's like, if you're like, oh, this works with all the other girls, and it's like those other girls must find you really attractive, and then just like crickets, it's like you're cute and all, but I'm not going to like override my better judgment over it. Like maybe I did with my ex, because he was kind of feeling that for me. I feel like there's something here where it's like that. Okay. Yeah, this person really has a strong ability to pull back and be objective in the thick of it. It's admirable. It's really admirable. It's giving general is what it's giving. This is the person you want at the heat of the moment when everybody else is losing their head. This is the person that's like, I have to stay dialed in. And it's not that they won't go home and cry afterwards. After they get everything kind of done, they'll go home and they'll be in the shower and they'll cry, or they'll just like let out a scream or something like afterwards. They will, but this person will be level-headed and cool in the moment. Yeah. Okay, so anything else that this person would say on the phone? They would be pleasant to you. If this person, like it's giving nothing, like it's giving a wall, but I feel like they would just like kind of be pleasant to you. So like this whole thing of like this person being silent, it's maybe even more metaphorical, where it's like, I don't know. They might want some kind of information for you. Like if this person did call, it's like, but what they want, it's more distant than you think it is. They don't want you. They don't want a relationship. There's this morbid curiosity of seeing whether or not you're going to say like why you did what you did, because like this person is like shocked. Like they're shocked. They're shooketh. But it's in this way of like, oh, you're a really bad person, you know, or like you are, because you made me think that you were a good person, or like you're fine making me think that you were my friend, and then you did the worst thing you could do, you know. And so this, yeah, they don't like you. There's not respect here. There is compassion though. There's like a firm compassion and a morbid curiosity. Okay, anything else? You know what's funny is I feel like you actually feel very emotional about this person. And I think that there was a kind of, I think there was an illusion or a delusion in your mind where you were kind of trying to play act with this person. You were trying to like put on a performance. This is giving performative male, what the youths call a performative male. You know, they like have their matcha. You tried to like make yourself a certain way. I don't know. But I think you actually feel more emotional about this person. And like what happened, then you're like letting on, and it makes you feel like kind of unstable, and you actually feel kind of powerless. And I think you actually feel stuck to like clear the air with this person. I think for some of you, do you have feelings for this person? I feel like you actually have real feelings for this person. You feel like this is your lovers, and you feel like you guys got separated. I think that you realized that there was a choice here, and it could have been that you had a choice between two people, but I actually feel like this was more of a choice of how to act, like how to behave in a certain situation. And for some of you, if this is a male, I'm just going to say, I feel like you needed a father, like to guide you. So maybe you didn't have one. But I think for some, I keep getting the impression that there was a man here, like some type of father figure that was trying to get through to you, that was trying to tell you that it was going to matter how you behaved one day. I'm hearing another song. It's like, I think it's the same Beyonce song. Someday you wish you were a better man. Someday you wish you were a better man. And I think this was the day. This is the day that the Lord hath made, that the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it, and be glad in it. What that's telling me is that I feel like Spirit had a hand in this. Where Spirit was like, we really did. We were flashing yellow lights. And that was like this teacher. There was somebody here that was teaching you. They were guiding you. Someday you're going to wish you were a man. Someday you were going to wish you knew how to be a man, how to be a better man, so that you could get the life that you want. So that when the on-ramp to the future that you want presents itself, that you are a man ready to man. And this like kind of all fell down. And that was them like flashing the yellow lights. And I feel like you were just, I heard the word degenerate. Like you were just ignoring them. You were thinking like, oh yeah, that's just you trying to dominate me, not trying to teach me, guide me, not looking after me. The restrictions that were put on you were really put on you for your greater good. And this was the moment where it all kind of came together. And I think you're meant to kind of look back and go, oh, it's important the way I behave. It's important that I restrict myself in certain ways. And then a man actually does that. And I've gone on that tangent. Like I've just noticed that there's two streams of thought around masculinity. One is like this dominance thing, and the other is virtue. But a lot of times because of the patriarchy, that there's that subtle, patriarchy is the dominance of men, right? Of masculinity. So there's always this subtle shadow thing. So even like men that go down the path of like, no, masculinity is about virtue. I mentioned I have a grandpa that used to have all these books about virtues of masculinity. I used to read them or open read a little bit. And I was like, why is this only for men? Like, because I felt really drawn to that, you know, but it's because they do have power. But he was very flawed in his masculinity because he was still getting those kind of messages about the patriarchy and would still kind of act them out. And so he would still have these kind of blind spots. But this is just a guy who early on really got the message that masculinity was about dominance, and then refused to allow himself to be really guided and taught by healthy men, other men that were trying to guide him in a right direction. And this was the moment where it kind of all blew up. And I think that you're going through withdrawals, like kind of thing. Like there's a reckoning that's like a bit going on here. Okay, anything else? Yeah, I think that. Oh yeah. Some of you tried to act like it was flippant, like that you were just going to hurt this person in this way and that you didn't care. Because this is like a real person. This is a real flesh and blood person, and you hurt this person. You betrayed this person. You betrayed their heart. You betrayed the connection that they kind of brought to you, that opportunity for real love, whatever kind of love, like platonic love, or and you use them and slept with them, or or real romantic love. Like, you betrayed that. And I think you tried to act like, oh, it's nothing. and like move away from it. And even though there was real love here, I think that maybe you thought that this person wouldn't walk away because they do really love. And in the end, you learned that this person, the lesson that I think certain men were trying to teach you is that you have to guide your life by principle. You watch this person guide their life by principle. I think you were also taught that women should guide their life by emotion. And even though this person has emotion, they're guiding by principle. And they're expecting a man. So, like if you want to follow patriarchal belief, men should be the leader of his family. So if you already have a woman here who is very principled and guides her life well by principles, and if she's looking for someone that she can admire and look up to, you're very far behind. Like she's not going to settle for somebody who has to catch up. She wants to be impressed, So now you're confused. And she's confused and you're feeling defensive, but this shattered a false image that you had of yourself. That you could compete, I think, for the better crop of women with the better crop of men. Yeah, there's shame here about some type of fantasy and delusion. Okay, anything else? You are confused about this person's truth. And I think the truth that you want is like, how do you feel in regards of relationship to me? And you want to ask certain questions, but I think that you're afraid of the answer, because not for everybody is this person like super attracted to you. There was maybe some level of attraction, where they were willing to give you a shot, or there was, but it was because they thought you were a friend. I think for some of you, that's the thing that I think you were really like, this is like creme de la crop kind of person. And they were not superficial with you. Like they thought, oh, you're cute. And they were willing to give you a shot, especially because you were the friend or like you were in with their friends. So this is not like a superficial person. But for others, maybe there was like a strong attraction here. And you're kind of wondering what this person's feelings are now. But you can't quite ask it because all you're seeing is this person's principles being lived out in action. And it doesn't really, and so you're wanting to know what the truth is. Yeah, this person keeps a lid on their emotions. And that's the thing that you want. And I think that's the thing you're used to, a lot of women just kind of giving up. Even like if they don't mean to. Like you're able to kind of finesse this. And I feel like you left this like, okay, so what you were thinking about was like the fool and you were just like flippantly going to move away from hurting this person was actually the death and the devil. So you was actually like, there's a death energy here. And there's always a cling for me with the death card. So there is actually still a cling like on an emotional level here, but you ran off to some type of devil energy, whether that's another relationship that's low vibrational or a behavior type of pattern here that you were meant to transcend. And yeah, this was spirit kind of offering you maybe this person as a connection for some of you, especially if it was really mutual to begin with. And like you cheated on this person kind of a thing, rather than like trying to use their friends to try to patch together a connection here. But I'm just getting that even if it's not a relationship with this person, spirit was offering you a higher timeline through this mirroring process. But you were very defensive, and there is going to be karma that follows this. Yeah, because of like, again, not being able to clear the air and like this kind of like sort of fight energy. This is not a person that you could easily get in a fight energy with. So, okay. So that's what I have for you guys. Pile number 2. That's what would happen if they called you on the phone. Okay. So we'll just put this back up, y'all. If you are just joining us, we just finished pile number 2, which is the dead end. And then we are getting ready to move to pile number 3, which is the flame. The flame. Please, Lord, let this be a positive one. Okay. Okay, compassion. Okay. I put so much lip gloss on one side of my face. Wow. Okay. Start with one. Okay. So, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let us do this. Let us do this. Pile number 3. Let us do this. Let us do this. Okay. I am actually getting that this is more of a positive energy. So let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of getting that already. Okay, so let's check the caller ID, Spirit. Who is this person that is coming through? Who is giving you a phone call? Who is calling in? Who is calling in? Who is calling in for pile number 3, Spirit? Who is this person that is calling in? Oh my gosh. 10 of Cups and the Ace of Wands. So yeah, this is somebody I feel like you could really have everything with. I feel like there's just like a good kind of positive bond here. And like it feels emotional and it feels loving. It feels reciprocal, but it also feels like spicy. And it also feels maybe like witty and like crushy. And like that's definitely it. Okay, but this person still has been kind of like hiding their feelings for you. So maybe this is like beginning stages or something. They really do kind of put you up on a pedestal. And yeah, I am seeing other people around this person. I don't know that this person is dating them. If they were, I don't feel like they would be crossing any like kind of lines or anything, because I feel like this person has like not really shown that they have an interest in you or anything like that. But I feel like for most of you, it's just they're like friends. But they kind of have stayed like in their own little cocoon or their own little like arena, but they view you as like being just a cut above the rest, really. Like they truly believe that. So okay, so who is this person? I think we know who this person is. Okay. Well, actually, how do you feel about this person? I'm smiling. Okay, how do you feel about this person? Yeah, you feel like you could have everything here with this person. How do you feel about this person? But you might actually question whether or not they're under the influence of certain energies that are around them. And I think you would think if you were getting a phone call here and this person was, I think it's going to be a lively kind of conversation. And you would be like, okay, this person must be calling me to kind of declare themselves. I kind of feel like that's what it is. Like they're wanting you to know that they have an interest in you. They want you to know that they like have a feeling towards you. I feel like this is the person that's actually taking that step to say like, I'm not into like other people. I'm into you kind of thing, you know? So, okay. So what would this person say? What would this person say? No anchor card today, Jill. Okay. So what would this person say? This person might like, I feel like I don't know. They would get like really excited. They might do something like spit or like put all their lip gloss on one side of their mouth. Okay, what would this person say? I'm still smiling. I feel like whatever it is, you'd be like kind of smiling. Okay, hold on here. Okay, this person may have something to apologize for, because there might be a reason, again, like why you're kind of suspicious about, like, I feel like they would call you after a time where somebody around them kind of squeezed your connection and they know that you might have been or must have been confused about where their feelings are and where their loyalties are. I think they kind of realized that there was some type of energy around them that was being that there was like a subtler meaning or something. And I feel like this person could have genuinely been like kind of confused in the moment. Also, I feel like they haven't really let you know that they like you so much. So I think this person was just kind of like a little stalled, a little like not really knowing what to do about that situation. And they may have just like continued on with their work or continued on with their like routine, but they've been thinking about it. And so, and they felt like something that they witnessed was like not fair. And I think it was like a friend that they did was like not fair to you. There was something that they said that was like a subtle dig to you, or like it was out of pocket, or it was like marking them as their territory. And that's not the appropriate relationship that these two people have. And that's like, this person's not interested in that friend. They want to move forward with you. And so they're wanting to kind of, they realize that kind of put an obstacle in their path, because I think this person's always sort of been like subconsciously pursuing you or planning on it, you know, but they also kind of feel like they don't feel on your level, like in some way, and it might be on a material way. So it could have been that this person was like working or something to try to like build up to like asking you out. But something about this, I feel like this person's like they want to clear the air. They want to make sure that you understand who is who and what is what, like in this situation. That okay, so yeah, that there may have been an argument. Okay, so what would this person say? This person say? For some reason, they don't feel like they can come fully forward, like into the light with their crushy feelings. It doesn't feel like a negative reason though. It feels like they're working up to something. Like what I mean by that is like, I think this person's not where they want to be in their career or something. And they might see you as either maybe you're doing really well in your career, or you are the kind of person that they're like, oh no, this is a person who like deserves this or that, you know, and they want to be that before they're kind of like asking you out, sort of a thing. So I think there might, and what this is demonstrating is kind of a level of self-awareness in this person and respect and care. But they don't plan for this to take like an awfully long time. It feels like they just have like a few bits and bobs that they want to kind of like clear up. And maybe they know that they're on the verge of a promotion or something. So they have been spending a lot of time at work in order to try to get that, or, they are getting that like extra certification so that they can, get that little extra raise that their job offers or something like that. It feels like something like that. It doesn't feel like it's going to take forever and a day. So, okay, what is this person going to say on the phone? They're going to hit on you. I mean, they are. It's going to be like flirty and kind of fun. What are they going to say? They're going to say not much that says everything. Is kind of what I'm getting. Like, they're going to make sure that you're okay. And they're like, hey, so-and-so was like, I don't think this person's going to be like, I love you and I have a crush on you and I want to be with you. And I just want to make sure that you know that. No, it's much more socially savvy than that. So I feel like this person is just going to be like, hey, and would you like to kind of, hang out just the two of us, or, I won't have you hanging out with like that person anymore, because it's kind of clear to me that they're a bit jealous of you. And I just, I don't, or I had a talk with them kind of thing that they need to reel it in. Like, I think this person would just kind of let you know that it's been handled in some type of way, that it was noticed and that it's been handled. And they're not going to say much, but it's going to say everything. It's going to say that they care about you. It's going to say that they are attentive. It's going to say that they are fair, like a fair person. They're not just going to sit by while something unfair happens. And they're going to say that like, you're important to me, like you're special to me, you're important to me. So I'm going to make sure that you're comfortable, like around me. I plan to have, it's kind of like signaling like because I think like whoever this is that says like the weird shit, it's like they have a closer relationship, like, but it feels like just proximity really, but it masquerades as a type of intimacy kind of thing. Cause I feel like the friend wants more, but, and so I don't know, maybe you have some questions about that. Cause how observant could this person really be if they're keeping that kind of person around, and how kind can they really be if they're kind of feeding that, or at the very least they're not shutting that down. So I don't know, maybe they were in a kind of place before in the past where, they just knew that they weren't interested. And if they slept together, it wasn't a big deal to this person either way. I don't know. Maybe that. I don't know. That's kind of weird. But they're growing up out of it, is kind of what I'm getting. And so, but it's going to tell you that like, I intend to have you in my future. So I want you to be good and comfortable, like around my friends. Or yeah, like it's, yeah. And around me. And like, because they would have just let it go if you weren't important and they weren't planning on like having you around, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, no, you're important to me. I want this connection to like last. So, okay. What else would this person say? What else would this person say? Thank you, Jill. Okay. What would this person say? I think they would apologize, but I think they would apologize on behalf of that person that got out of pocket with you. And I think they would apologize that they didn't say anything sooner because they were kind of like unsure, I think, of what was going on. I do think that was kind of genuine. They would try to make you laugh. They are still like hiding stuff, but they're hiding that you're like a wish fulfillment and that they're kind of working their way up. I think they're maybe feeling embarrassed. I don't know. There's a rescuer kind of energy. Not that they're like in a rescuer like mode, but they just want you to feel seen and protected, kind of a thing. And they're a little bit hesitant because they don't know how you feel about it. I think they're also worried about how you feel about that friend that's around them, because they don't want you to think that they're like that, or that they, I think they really don't want you to think that they're like talking about you with this person behind your back in the way that this person was speaking to you. Or if it wasn't something outright that they said, it was a treatment, where it's kind of like they're excluding you with their body language or something like that, they're because I think this person knows that you could kind of agree with it, but then not like verbally to them, but then like not fully agree with it, like still kind of keep your distance. And this person doesn't want you to keep your distance from them. Okay. Anything else? I want to get some more messages here, because this is fun and flirty and juicy, but I do think they would keep it kind of casual and like sweet and short, and maybe even like inviting you, like setting up a time where you guys are going to see each other again, whether it's in a group or like just the two of you kind of thing, or like, hey, I'm really like looking forward to this or that. Like they're going to connect something to the future. Okay, so I'm becoming a better person and I left when I saw you with someone. Interesting. It's time for me to heal now. Okay, maybe you left when you saw this person with someone. And they're kind of sad. Like there's a part of them that's like sad and like kind of guarded because they are wondering if you're like just taking some time to heal from whatever was said or done. Yeah, you could have left when you saw them with somebody. Again, it was like this kind of friend thing. Okay, so for some of you, I don't know why the energy keeps twisting. Okay, so I think what that means is for some of you, this pile is going to mix with like pile number 1 or pile number 2, where this person is maybe trying to get back into your good graces. That's like, because I'm starting to feel it tip where somebody's like trying to hide behind maybe material things, or they're trying to do like the right thing. But for others of you, this is a genuine energy. So the genuine energy, please. The genuine energy, spirit. What is this person going to say? Look, we will be together again. And again, I think that I'm getting like puppy energy, like puppy golden retriever, like a bit sloppy, but like fun, where it's like, they might even like, that was a bit of like a tower, but like and so they might even betray a bit of like their suave or their coolness or their calmness. And they'll just kind of let you know that they're excited to see you again and that you guys are going to see each other again, kind of thing. Yeah, just being near you is intoxicating, because I feel like there's something about like this person's like excitement and engagement that you're gonna clock things in this person's voice and like the way that they're speaking to you, and like you can tell that they like you. I think you can tell that you're important to them and they want you to, because the thing that this person I think is most afraid of is you actually needing to is you kind of questioning their sincerity because of what happened, and you actually needed to take distance, and you actually needing to just kind of heal from that, and like just kind of, because it feels like something here is just starting, like it's just beginning, and this person is excited for that. Like they want to see that through, and it feels like this person is not interested in this friend that they have around them. I don't think they're sleeping with them. I think that it's the friend that's really like driving the interest for this positive person. For the other person, I don't know, and I don't care. But I feel like for this positive person, they're wanting to be upfront. They're wanting to like make sure you get the story straight, kind of a thing. And their biggest fear isn't that you could hear how much they like you on accident. Their biggest fear is that you think that maybe they like their friend and that you don't think that they like you enough, because that's going to be the death knell, and they're never going to be able to explore this connection. And then they're going to lose it over somebody that they don't really like, somebody that, is territorial over them. They don't want that. So, okay. Anything else that this person's going to say? I want you. They're just gonna, like, everything about this is just, I don't feel like they're necessarily going to say these things. I just feel like in the things that they do say, the way that they're acting with you, it's very clear that their interest is with you. Yeah, I wish I could take back my words. Yeah. Okay. Again, this is like a little bit of that other side of things that is coming in, where this person's like wishing that they could take back their words because they feel like maybe they said too much about you, like to this friend, like they kind of like hyped into it, this lower energy, that's maybe trying to kind of get back in. The timing just wasn't right. Like, because they were immature. I feel like somebody here there may be some regrets where this person's like, I was just so immature. So maybe for some of you there's that, but I feel like you wouldn't really trust that person. There's like crying energy. I don't want to tap into that. So, with this newer person is saying that they're going to maybe mention that they were thinking about you. And maybe that's why they called, like, hey, I saw, I was at the bakery and they have those blueberry muffins with the crispy top that you like. Do you want me to, grab you one? Like, or I grabbed you one. Again, like they're setting up a time to see you again. Like, hey, so I got you one. So should I run that by your house, or should I leave that in the class? They're gonna give you an out, because this is a very respectful person. They're not like pushy, but they're like, hey, I did this nice thing for you, and if you want, I could complete the process of doing this nice thing for you and we could maybe see each other. Or I could, still do this nice thing for you and I can just leave it in your locker or like whatever, yeah, this is nice. I want more from this, but yeah, because I feel like they're kind of keeping it contained, but they're letting you know they got a flame for you basically. And possibly that they're not exactly ready to show it right now for some reason. They have, okay, there's this other energy that's wanting to come through. And again, I don't entirely trust this energy, but for some of you, I feel like, okay, so for some of you, there's this other energy and it is kind of coming through as authentic, but given the other piles that we've come off of, especially, your person, if this is combining with one of those other piles, then take this with a grain of salt. But for some of you, I feel like there's this person that's like, I have a hard time communicating. I ran away. And it feels like there's been a longer period of time than this other person that's coming in this happy golden retriever energy that is going to nip it right in the bud. Like who is going to be aware that there's like a potential that you don't think that they like you and they don't want that. So they're going to call pretty immediately. It feels like for others of you, there's been like a bit of a distance and this person's going to say things like, I ran away. I have a hard time communicating. I was hurt. I was feeling like lacking, because you sent me a message. But I feel like you could have walked away. Again, you could have seen something and you could have walked away. And this person felt rejected then. But I feel like they were too butthurt or too wrapped up in their friend. Or I don't know. They had already fallen. I feel like this person had already fallen in their energy. So they were like, they felt rejected. But really, it's like we're giving you mixed signals kind of a thing. I don't really know. It's giving you tap into different timelines of the same person. Interesting. That could also be something that's happening here where it's like, if this person kind of turns this around, maybe they show up in a better positive, like energy. Look, you're on my mind the most. Okay. So, what else did this person say? I think you are very talented. I'm afraid to get close to people. I'm getting lost in the memories. So they might want to praise you up a little bit. I think this person would actually there's something here about a restriction of this flame. And I think it's because they might know that you're afraid of getting close to people. It could be that one of you, or maybe both of you, has a touch of the avoidant or some type of disorganized, not disorganized, but like just some type of like an attachment issue where like you really want love, but you're also really scared of love. And that's a really tough place to be in, So you have all these either activating strategies or deactivating strategies that like try to help you navigate that. And it gets like kind of very confusing. You activate towards love, but then you also deactivate away from it. Like when things kind of get a little bit too and I feel like this person may, I don't know, maybe they're acting from that place as well. Could just be like a kind of unhealed energy that's also coming through. Okay. What else will this person say? I've been thinking about you a lot. I'm scared you're moving on. So, okay, back to this happy energy. I feel like this person's like, they're not scared to let you know. It's not in a direct way. It's just they're not scared to say things that would let you know that you've been on their mind because they care about you. And I think, again, this person has a bigger fear of making you think that they don't care about you and that you're not special to them and then they're not attracted to you. And worse, that they're attracted to somebody else because they know that that's just the end. That's the end of it. Okay. Anything else? I want more from this energy, but maybe that's all that they want to say. Because again, like this happy person, it's like, you're kind of like excited to get to know this person. I think you're excited to see whether or not the friend would be around. And if he muzzled his bitch, basically. So I don't really think that person's a genuine friend though. I don't think they ever have been. I think there's a proximity thing and I think there's a pretend intimacy thing, but I think it's like, it's coming from a place of like getting emotional needs met in an unhealthy way and not in a reciprocal way. Okay. Yeah. Laughing behind your back just came out. I feel like for some of you, this person really, really, really wants to make sure that you know that they're not laughing behind your back, that if they're going to laugh, they're laughing with you. Like, okay. They might even tell you, okay, so for some of you, this person might even tell you that their friend was laughing about you behind their back or that they tried to start some type of Schadenfreude conversation with them where they laughed at you behind your back, and that they might even tell you that. And then they might tell you that they shut it down, and they're shining the light on it because they're letting you know where their loyalties lie. They're letting you know that like, they're also letting you know who they are, where they're just saying like, I'm not that person. That wasn't okay what that person said. That's not how I feel about you. look, can I get your contact? Like, can I get your number? So for some of you, maybe this person doesn't even have your number. This could be a conversation that they do afterwards. It's like, hey, can I get your number so that we can hang out? This person is like really setting the groundwork to like hang out with you in the future. Trust your intuition. Okay, so I think what that's saying is like this positive person is going to say things that validate your intuition. They're not going to gaslight you. I think you had a feeling. You had a feeling here because I feel like you left. You had a feeling that the friend was like having some type of animosity towards you or something. You had a feeling, and this person's going to validate that feeling. Like the positive person, they're going to validate that feeling. I think they're probably even going to come in and say, this person did this person said this person was trying to suck me into this. Like, so, and also it's going to show you that's that yang energy. Yang is the masculine energy. And I don't just mean like men have this. Women, we're all a blend of masculine and feminine energies, right? So healthy yang energy can stand on its own, and yin energy will pull on yang energy. That's what I think went on with the friend, is the friend was trying to see, can my yin energy pull on this yang energy? You know, can it influence it in some way? And that's going to make me feel powerful. It's going to make me feel flattered. It's going to make me feel chosen. It's going to make me feel prioritized, right? Like whether or not she's the apple of his eye, because I'm kind of getting, even if they've slept together before, she's not, you know, but it's just that yin energy that is like, can I pull this yang energy? And so I think he's going to show you that not only is he going to validate your intuition, but he's going to also be demonstrating in what he's saying. I go my own way. I'm a yang energy, and that yin energy that was pulling on me, I didn't get moved by it. I'm going my own way. And the way that I want to go is towards you. And so you can trust me. You know, like that's kind of what they're saying. Thank you guys for the super chats. Tasha, I'm a little late, but I made it. Thanks. Deborah, thanks. Nice to see you guys as per usual. Yeah. So I'm communicating with you through music. It could be that you guys have a connection through music here. And maybe that's a way that this person is like, they might say like, oh, hey, like, by the way, do you know this band that you really like is in town? This person might really pay attention to the things that you like. Because remember I said the muffin thing and then the band. So it's like this person's like, they're going to kind of create an experience. And I don't know, they might ask you out. It might not be like for a date, like per se, but it might be they're just kind of hanging out with you as a friend, but like they are showing you that they pay attention to the things that you like. And they're like, hey, it just so happens that this band is in town. Would you like to go? They have blueberry muffins with the crispy tops there too. Surprise. I just couldn't go without you because obviously this is a you moment. So let's go, you know, kind of like thing. So yeah, it just feels really happy. This person would also like ask if you're upset with them, and they would give you plenty of room to like fully be upset. And I don't think this person would be defensive at all. Like this like higher vibration. I think they would just be so validating, like of your intuition, but I think they would just be very validating. Like, of course you would feel that way. She mean mugged you. She meant for you to feel that way. And she was trying to influence me, like socially. So of course you would feel that way. Like this person would just kind of really validate, like if you were upset, I think that you would feel there's something about this person and just how genuine and like, they're interacting with you. It feels like really, they're doing things, they're kind of layering things like where it just makes you feel like cared for, you know, and, they're just really doing a lot to expel any notion that there was any kind of secret collusion or like that he would ever be laughing behind your back. That was all like, because you weren't really sure and maybe he did or maybe he didn't. But this is a guy who's going to make damn well good and sure that at the forefront of your mind, you know that that's not the kind of person he is. It's giving bitch energy. You know, he's like, I want you to know, A, I'm a man and not a bitch. You know, so like if I'm going to be disruptive in my energy, it's going to be in the ways that men typically are and not this kind of, I'm not going to be a gossipy bitch like with that lady over there, you know? Because I want you to be attracted to me. And he kind of knows that that's the least attractive version, even if he was like more scruffy about like, you know, and he was like more manly about it, that at least there'd be a little bit more attraction. So I feel like he's going to handle this really, really well. I might not be the best in my field, but I guarantee that I'm a diarrhea. You know what? I feel like this person is like, they don't expect perfection out of themselves, and they will trip over themselves sometimes. And they might even just say it to you. Like, I'm not always the best in these situations. I don't know how to handle everything exactly perfectly. But the thing that I want to make sure that we walk away from this conversation understanding is that I care for you. It's not okay for you to feel any type of way. And I'm not the type of person to just like sit by while somebody I care for is like hurting and not resolving that issue. Like they just want to make sure like that you understand that you're important to them. And it's like, I might not be like the most finesseful kind of guy, but I just want to make sure that you know that I am on your side. Like I'm your friend. I care about you, you know? And if my actions didn't show that back there, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to play both sides against the middle. I talked to her about it. And if you want to verify it, you can ask her if we had a conversation. We'll text her right now, or I'll show you the text message. Like there's no hiding of anything, you know? And he's just showing that he doesn't have this weird like loyalty to this person. He might also tell you that he knows that there's a kind of framing energy that maybe something that was said about you was untrue. Like if the friend kind of suggested that you were this way, or that was the impression that they gave, if they didn't, I don't think they would say, it feels very passive aggressive, to be honest. Whatever happened here. And so I think they would say, I know that you're not that kind of person. I know that they were kind of trying to make you and others feel that, you know, that you had malintention or that you are stupid in this way, or, you know, but I just want you to know that I know that that was a frame. And again, it was a manipulation tactic to see if they could pull on me. And I just want you to know that if that's going to be a pattern that's going to continue, that person's not going to be around. And I'll handle it. You know, it's not something that I noticed this time and I'll notice again, like kind of thing. Yeah, I think they're going to make sure that you know that like what the friend did really backfired on them in their eyes. Okay, anything else? We need to talk about this. This person's going to initiate it. So this person is going to, I think they're going to start off like, hey, like, so nice to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. I didn't get to talk to you the other day. Or like you ran out, you know, the other day and I didn't really get to see you, but I really feel like I wanted to touch base about this or that. They're going to be proactive. We really need to talk about this. I don't think that they're going to say like, hey, we need to talk about this unless the gravity of the situation calls for it. But I still think that they're going to be like, I didn't get a chance to talk to you about this. And I don't know what you were thinking about this or that, but I just want to make sure that what you were thinking about it wasn't this. Like that it didn't give you this impression, because it's definitely not that. And I was worried about it. So I just want you to know that I already had a conversation with so-and-so. Again, they're just taking the initiative here. Okay, here's this other energy that's like kind of coming in. They're like, oh my God, what would you think if you knew? Because I think there's something here that's going on in the energies as I'm exploring this. And again, maybe these are two timelines of like the same person, but, or maybe there's like this other kind of person, but it's like, there's something here where it's like, every time I talk about this positive person and the way that they would handle things and how like not embarrassing it is, like how confident this person is and how loving and how like, you know, this other person is like, oh my God, what would you think if you knew? Like that I was cooperating with this, that I was like in allegiance with this because I felt rejected by you, but I'm like really a simp for your energy, you know, like what would you think if you knew that? You know, it's like, because of how healthy like this person is and how like confident it's really coming across. Yeah. Honor is better than honors. So I feel like that's where you loop back around to like pile number 1 or pile number 2, especially pile number 2, where it's like that person is like, well, what I would think is honor is better than honors, you know? Okay. Anything else? I think there's something here about like, okay, this lower vibrational energy that keeps coming through. Cheater, simp, where they get really confused, like just showing that you care about somebody or that you love somebody or that you're interested in somebody. I think in their mind, they're thinking that they're a simp. They think about it through the lens of like control. And again, like they don't want to give away too much or seem too keen. But like the way that this other confident person is coming across, they're not coming across as a simp at all. They're coming across as interested. They're coming across as confident. They're coming across as sane. They're coming across as like a good person. And like I said, they're giving you like a little bit, you know that they're interested. You know that clearly like you are some level of important to them and that they plan on having you in their future. So they're doing the relationship things. They're investing like already, but they're not investing too much. They're not falling all over themselves. They're holding like a certain like level of confidence here and they're moving things forward like at their pace, but they're still moving it forward. You know? So I think in an effort for this person not to be seen as a simp for you, they may come off as a cheater. Whether they did or not, maybe they actually did cheat with this friend who is clearly a problem. Instead of everything that this other guy is doing, you know, like they may have actually cheated with this friend. Or maybe they're just coming across like they're siding with that person that really doesn't mean a lot to them. And so it's like they need to find a happy medium where again, like this confident person is not coming across in either of those energies. They're not coming across as a cheater and a degenerate, and they're not coming across as a simp. They're coming across as somebody who is healthy, sane, confident, sexy, attractive, somebody who knows what they want, and somebody who is like leading things forward, you know? Again, it's not like they're tumbling all over themselves, but they're still leading things forward. So, yeah. Are you with someone else? So I think like maybe for some, even this confident person might wonder like if you're single or not. They might not know. Or like if you're interested, like if you're available. And that can mean like a lot of different things. So they're going to try to figure out whether or not you're like available for them in the future. But it's moving forward progressively and like not necessarily slow, but also not too fast. It's moving forward at like a nice, healthy pace. Okay. Anything else? Okay. I'm currently in a toxic relationship that I don't know how to get away from. I feel like that's with this friend. I think the friend is kind of showing their true colors, because I think that maybe they did think that this person was like nurturing or out to help them or something, but really I think the friend wants more, but they also want control over this person. So even if it is a platonic thing, it's a weird platonic thing where like this friend wants control over this person. This is the kind of person that's just like, they just don't like every time that this person's like hanging out with somebody besides them. They just want to commandeer their energy. But I think for most of you, this friend actually like wants more. That's the toxic relationship that they're in, that they don't know how to get like really out of. But this other person, I think they just want to make sure that you don't feel rejected. And it's like either by them or like their friend group, because it could have been catty or mean. And so I think they're like, just so you know, like you weren't rejected by them. And like, I think there's one person that again, like kind of has a problem, but I think even this person saying something, checking that one friend, I think other people were kind of like following suit, like kind of just like laughing. And I think it just set a tone like in the friend group of like, we don't laugh at this person. You know, we're not in a sabotaging energy. So at the very least, when this friend tries to kind of pull it in that direction, other people are going to have more of a resistance to that in the future because this person shut it down. And this person's clearly the dominant energy, like in that friend group, because the friend wants this person. And so they're always trying to get this person to like them. So if this person's like, knock it the fuck off, like then the friend's going to knock it off. And so is everybody else. But yeah. So, because they're not really a friend, you know? So what I mean by that is like, they're not naturally going to be around this person, like as a friend. They're only around because they're trying to maneuver their agenda with this person. And so I think you being there is kind of what is illuminating this, where this person's going to go bye-bye eventually, because it's just going to come out like, you're not a friend. You're not neutral. You don't want what's best for me. Like you want what you want. You want sex. You want a relationship, and you want to be seen in a certain way in a social group. That's what you want. And I think you also want to hurt people that come around. You want to sabotage relationships that I would be interested in. So this is a hidden enemy is what it is, that masquerades as a friend. And maybe that person can transform themselves into being a better friend, but they're still going to take more distance, because that's what a true friend would do. They would, again, be self-aware and say like, oh, I'm really in a certain energy towards you. And until I'm not in that energy, I'm a liability to you and your happiness and your future. So a real friend would move away. So I think like maybe they do make that kind of transformation, but they're going to be more of a distant friend, because they don't really have too much in common anyway. It's not like this person brings anything to their life. Like they were really, really hoping to be chosen is kind of what I'm getting. So they're going to take their distance anyways and possibly stay a friend, or it's just going to like completely dissolve. Okay. So, oh, and the way that I use signs, I think somebody's asking about signs. I just tap into the energy of the signs. That's the way that I use it to kind of read the energy. It's not so much that they maybe have this sign in their chart or something. There's just an energy that kind of comes through, because our charts are always progressing. You heard of a progressed chart, like when an astrologer does your progressed chart, it's that snapshot of where you are at that current time, but it's always moving, right? Like your chart's kind of like always moving. So you might be, your Mercury might be in Aries, but Mercury is moving in the sky. So it's going to progress in your chart eventually to Taurus and then to Gemini. And it goes like round and round like that. So yeah, you might be a certain energy, but you have all these energies that kind of like come through. So this is the energy of like the moment that we're kind of tapping into. And I just, I mention the signs because I kind of build a language here in the community. But it's also a language that a lot of people do speak in this community already, but I'm just tapping into like the broadness of the energy, because I really do feel like we read these energies together. So if I say Gemini energy and I'm explaining the way that I'm kind of getting it, that it comes across, but you already know information, and you're like, you connect to another aspect of Gemini that maybe I didn't mention, but it allows you to kind of fill things out and like well-rounded and like make the reading more holistic for you. It's an open door basically. Like when I throw a sign out there, and if you kind of if you explore that, it gives you a place where you can explore that a little bit more if you wanted to. You're like, yeah, she was connecting that to Gemini energy, and I can kind of see, like this aspect of Gemini or that aspect of Gemini, even though we didn't quite cover it in that like finite, reading. I've been processing through this, and so that's why I throw it out there. It's really just as like a, this is the kind of general energy, and you can explore deeply, more deeply into that if you were so called to. I love when you talk about the masculine path in relation to the planets and astrology. How can we learn more about it? I don't know. I don't know. just studying like astrology in general. I can't pinpoint like anything in particular that I like learned about that. I think it's something that I kind of put together in my mind. Well, I have heard some people talk about the masculine and the feminine paths. And I know that like I'm just a person where I do philosophically, naturally through journaling and other things, like I'll just explore a lot, or I'll just make certain connections in my brain, especially when in regards of astrology. I mostly like I'll learn about psychology or something. Like I read a lot about psychology in particular. And I read a lot about astrology too. Not so much like these days, but I like really have gotten into astrology where I know the basic frameworks. And then what I learned about psychology kind of expands what I know about astrology, if that makes sense. That's sort of my process. Especially when you know like what certain things kind of resonate with. I don't know. Yeah. So, okay. And just learning about astrology in general, like from trustworthy sources, people who really know their stuff and have more than just like a superficial understanding of it. And and also reading. Reading is a big one because YouTube, like it can like help to get your feet wet, but like if you are interested in astrology and you read like an entire book on aspects, or you read an entire book on Mars or Pluto or something, like you can really go in depth in these kinds of things. And that's kind of where these topics get explored. It's not necessarily like finding a book on masculinity and, it's like, maybe finding a book on Mars or the sun or like those more masculine planets. It's where it kind of goes into the humanist side of astrology, if that makes sense. Okay. So yeah. All right. That is what I have for you guys. Pile number 3. What a great one to end on. What a great one. Because I feel like you could really have like a healthy, happy, fulfilling relationship with pile number 3, the person that was coming through. And not only that, but one where, you can actually have friends. Like this is a guy who really, I think you actually can trust to have girlfriends. So you don't have to feel like nervous and like your social circle has to shrink because you don't trust him. Like even if he is attractive, the man can handle himself, where he, I think, is the kind of guy that would look at a woman like, why can't you just be my friend? It's giving strange that like you know that I'm interested in this person, or like that's giving toxic. It's giving somebody that kind of can't be around, So I think he's going to help you and not hinder you. It's like he's going to help you guys in having like happiness, like a fulfilling social life, as well as being a couple, where you don't have to seal yourself off because he had too many friends around him that weren't real friends, that really just were, I think, trying to punch out of their weight class, to be honest. And maybe it was a convenience thing for him, because I think that's one thing that you would notice. I think that you would notice that this person's been kind of friend zoned because they're not on the same level of attractiveness. I really think that's kind of what it is. But he's nice and, to her, and will talk to her. And so if it tips over into a sleeping thing, I think it was a convenience thing for him. And I think it was her ultimate dream for her. But it was something about like control and getting like her hooks in. And that's just not really an energy that you want around. It's important to pay attention to the way a man kind of builds his social circles, especially where the people that he sleeps with are concerned. Like, so if he's straight or homosexual or bisexual, like, just to kind of notice that, if somebody's like, just kind of keep this person here in case I would have like a dry spell, or something like that. Like, it's, I don't know, under the guise of friendship, like, I don't know. Okay. So, let's see here. I just want to say, like, the last thing, the pile number 3 person, not only, like, they're also not ignorant. Like, so they're showing you that they're socially adept. They're not trying to keep it a secret and then gaslighting you and being like, what? She's interested in me? Crazy ? Like, and women do this a lot. Just saying, like, this isn't just a man thing. Women actually do that a lot, where they're like, he's interested in me. I don't think that he is. And you kind of know that he is, but you just, feel like people have a higher level of decorum maybe than they actually have. Maybe it feeds your ego a little bit, but you know that it's like a no, and that you only have eyes for your boyfriends, but you like having this person around because, like, it boosts your ego or something. Like, so just be aware, like, that happens on both sides. But like, I think it says, it speaks highly of like this pile number 3 person for them to show you that they're socially adept, but they're showing you so that you know that you can trust them. Like, they're not hiding the fact that they're socially skillful, and that they understand that person, they're not trying to like to make you jealous or to make you feel a little bit like insecure. This person's like, oh yeah, I know that this person is like this kind of way, and it was addressed, like, so, okay. So moving on from that pile number 3 energy, moving on, because a lot of times in those general messages, we like get a little bit of holdover. So, I'm just going to clear this out, and then we will have a general message from spirit, from nobody else that is trying to like come in here and have a conversation or something. Like, let's have a general message from spirit. I felt like I needed to grab this deck, and we have Self-Care Sunday. So maybe this Sunday, or like whatever day you can, whatever day is your Sunday, like just having a bath with some bubbles, taking a time to like relax. Look, retirement goals. Like, this is like giving relaxation. Maybe taking like a trip, even if you can't spend like buku bucks, maybe you can afford a massage or something like that. Or just to like get outside and have some fresh air, touch grass. I feel like Spirit is saying like being self-made isn't all just like hard work. It's about, you know, kind of balancing the cycle. So just taking a rest. Okay, Spirit, what are you wanting to say? Ascension. I'm starting to get the hiccups. Okay, so Ascension. Yeah, I feel like this is a group that like something's dawning on you and you are like growing, but I think this has to do with like non-doing kind of thing. Like, it's not something that you're necessarily doing. I feel like there's like, look, soul contract. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I feel like you've ascended through some type of soul contract. I feel like you've done the hard work like in the past to kind of like, well, you went through whatever experience, and the experience itself's not the end. Of course, we know that. Like, you process through it. You process through the events and the variables and the people that were involved and what their intentions might have been, what their feelings were that were motivating their intentions. And that's why they said what they said, or that's what they did, or that's why they have the pattern that they have. You process through your own feelings around that situation, and you start to pull apart what feelings are coming from me, where I'm like kind of triggered because I'm bleeding all over people who didn't cut me, you know, like where there's something in my past that I haven't actually properly looked at and gone through this process with. So it's showing up in my reality and I'm getting triggered, but it's not necessarily exactly what's happening, but I'm emotionally reacting as if the same thing that happened to me in the past is the thing that's happening to me now, when it actually might be different, but I'm unable to meet the moment and like fully be in the now because I still have healing left to do from some type of past situation. So you pull apart your feelings, right? Which ones are legitimate and which ones are not legitimate. And I know that like in our modern, therapy speak kind of society, all feelings are considered legitimate. And I understand where that comes from, because all feelings are like valid in a sense that like, well, that's what you're feeling. So you have to like work with what you're feeling in the moment, and you have to understand, yes, this is what I'm feeling, but why am I feeling it? That's where the legitimacy comes in. Because if you're not feeling it because it's something that is, you're reacting legitimately in a present way, like in the moment, it's a holdover for some type of trauma. Well, that's how you resolve it. Is you have to kind of recognize it's not actually legitimate or fair that I am feeling this in the moment, because I'm not reacting to what's happening in the now. What's happening in the now, it's actually fine. You know, it's actually like, it makes sense to me. And if I didn't have that trauma in my past, I would react totally, I would kind of shoulder shrug, you know, or maybe I would be like, oh, that's a little like bit of a bummer, but I would just kind of move on from it. So it's about like kind of pulling those like feelings apart. And so, yeah, like I feel like the work has like really been done a lot like in the past, or like you went through some type of experience in the past, but you're ascending from it now. So either like you're really making a lot of progress, I feel like, through processing, through going that step deeper and really asking yourself like, why? You know, in every aspect of this, like, okay, well, why did this person think, say, feel, do, say, whatever it was that they said? Like, what emotions might they have been feeling, legitimate or illegitimate, that made them kind of respond in that way? All of this builds compassion. And I think that's what the person in pile number 1, remember that like person who was very kind, but also kind of weak and a pushover, they don't understand that. Like, when you question, when you push back, this is what it leads to. It actually does lead to more compassion. It's a process. And so, yeah, I think like you have to go through a process of maybe grieving, you know, of where you do feel angry and you do feel betrayed, but you don't lie to yourself about it. Lying to yourself about it and just trying to skip over stuff is not the same as healing. But I feel like that's maybe what the pile number 1 person, the like kind of maybe false positivity, like we all just have to be happy all the time. And like, you know, it turns into this like denial of reality, because they're so scared to feel other things other than happy, and to have other people around them feel other things other than happy, that it's hard to really go through the process to refine your soul, you know, and like end up on the other side of it, which is it's like that kind of coming full circle moment where you're like, okay, I actually have reached a place of happiness, but this happiness isn't fake. It's not built on denial. It's not built on somebody else's suffering and I require them to repress everything that they need to work through. It's a genuine sense of understanding and wholeness and contentment and peace. I've reached a place of peace and acceptance with that person or that situation or whatever happened because I understand the humanity by it. Even if the person you're dealing with is a psychopath. Oh my gosh, I watched this video, and if I can find it, I will try to share this on Patreon. But it was serial unalivers as propaganda. And I didn't even realize, Alex, you would love this video. I should actually send this to you. But I'm getting goosebumps. So this woman was like so skillfully explaining how like the whole true crime genre and like how we paint serial unaliver people is it solidifies this worldview that, okay, these people are all super smart, which a lot of them are not. That they are just, it's hard to catch them and blah, blah, blah. When the reality is, when you start to dig into a lot of these cases, even these like famous cases, apparently there's a lot of police errors that meant that they could become serial criminals, like in that way, where like a lot of times, I can't remember, it was one of them where, oh yeah, was it Ted Bundy? Where No. One of them, like there was a one that got away, like a little boy, but I think it was like a little Asian boy or something. And the cops like brought him back to that person because he wasn't believed. So there was like racism. There's elements of like racism that were like playing out. So all of these things were basically, it's like, we forget that the people who are authority figures like in our society are humans too. They also need to be going through these processes of like refinement of like, why did I believe that person? Why did I bring that little boy back? Like it's because I have like these underlying beliefs. So like we all have to kind of go through this. Anyways, the reason I'm telling you that is because I don't really know why. That just got me off on it. It's because it keeps us in this mindset that like, okay, well, they must be just so smart and so unethical and like so lacking in empathy that they just have this way of evading capture. When in reality, there's, we could actually look at the systems that are meant to catch these people and we could refine our processes. We could kind of notice where there's holes in the system or where we could, like that whole thing. And I feel like there's an element of that here as well, where there's a kind of maybe propaganda that we tell ourselves in certain situations that prevent us from actually critiquing where it is that we could make meaningful change. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's the place of denial. That's the place of like repression. But it's so convincing, like that, oh, this is just like the way that things are. Look, deja vu, it says the first thing there, it says repeating patterns, familiar lessons, unresolved issues. We've been here before. So I feel like somebody here, it's like, okay, why is this deja vu? Like I got out of that situation and I'm in a whole other relationship, but then something here is like kind of repeating, And so this is like leading to some type of fresh beginning because like there is some type of ascension. Oh, look, hidden encounters. So it's like maybe you're always drawn to people who cheat on you. And so it's like what I don't know, place in your shadow like that this person like represents, or why there must be something that you're attracted to in these people, but why are you drawn in it? Maybe that there's some type of karma that's trying to resolve itself. So like, what is it, to kind of break that? Look, divine intervention. I feel like there was a break in the pattern though. And it was really a gift. I think that's what Spirit is saying is like, there was actually divine guidance. If you look at it through that lens, the break in the pattern here was meant to give you a fresh perspective and a new beginning. And that was the divine guidance. It didn't come through like, a burning bush speaking to you. Like, Cynthia, you have dated a douchebag again. Like it didn't come through like that, but it was more like something here like happened to like really grab your attention. It's meant to help you. It's meant to like elevate you, but you're expected to kind of do the work for this like ascension process. And I think that they're saying that's what's happened. Look, payday, financial reward, shadow work, recharge. I feel like maybe there is some type of payday or some type of reward at the end of this, or maybe like money has been a part of it too. But I don't know, there's some type of shadow work, but I feel like there's also something here about like just making sure you take a rest, like a self-care Sunday, like a rest day to kind of recharge, because I feel like maybe you're at a crossroads here. Look, cuffing season. So you might have a choice that's coming up in regards of like commitment in some way. of who you want to commit to. And it says like behind the mask. So I feel like Spirit is saying like, take off your mask, figure out who you really are and what you really want, and start building from there. And make yourself. Because I feel like there's like a sadness, but Spirit is like, we have to make ourselves. And like, notice how happy this person is and how sad this person is because they're wearing a mask. But Spirit is saying like, this is how we build ourselves. This is how we make ourselves. Is this critique process. It is this kind of being willing to ask yourself the hard questions and being brave enough to look at what the answers are. Because some of the answers might be, maybe it's hard for certain people to say like, I really fell short. I was the one who fumbled the ball in that regard because I was in a state of such denial, or I was afraid of rejection or whatever. That could be really difficult. Or, for others, they couldn't look at the truth because it's like, well, I was really way more into that person than they were into me. And if I look at that too directly, I start to get like humiliation. I feel like embarrassed because I feel like maybe it was kind of obvious to people that I wasn't, like that wasn't being reciprocated or something, but like acknowledging the truth and then fully feeling that whatever the feeling is of like, disappointment or embarrassment, or like even feeling that sense of loss, that like intense loss, feeling that fully, processing and understanding what it's saying to you. Like when we grieve things, it means that we have loved very deeply, and you can appreciate yourself for that. And you have had like a full human experience, and you can learn the lessons from that. And you can say, okay, never again. And I'm ready to get back up on the horse, and I'm ready to meet my life again in a way that this isn't pulling on me from the past. Yeah. Okay. Secrets exposed in regards of energy vampires. It's marking some type of turning point. Yeah. And maybe that turning point, it either like came from the outside, like a rejection is protection kind of a thing, where maybe somebody like ghosted or whatever. And that was a kind of secret being exposed, something about them, or their secrets being exposed and it's, I don't know, leading to some type of sudden turn away from toxic love. But this is meant to be a catalyst. Something here is like really meant to be a catalyst. Spirit is just reassuring you that they're working with you. Also, for those of you that feel friend zoned, where it's like, okay, I kind of realized that I was a lot more into this person than they were into me. I was in denial about it, which made me manipulative because it gave me some type of like false delusion that this person was like reciprocating my feelings when maybe they were actually like keeping me around for convenience. They were using me in their relationships that they were actually interested in, because when they wanted to make that person jealous, that's when they would start calling me more. That's when they would start giving me the time of day, or that's when this person would cheat with me. And I was like hanging on to every word. And maybe you're upset with that person and you're like, that person breadcrumbed me and they manipulated me. And yes, but I feel like maybe it was a two-way street where you're probably really mad at yourself because you're like, well, I was also trying to manipulate them into noticing that I was the one the whole time, and I was hanging on their every word instead of like just being able to be neutral and say like, okay, I recognize that you're keeping me here for convenience and that you're using me to try to get the attention and the emotional like something here from the other person. So even when you were around me and I was like eating it all up and I was thinking I was getting all of your attention, even that was about like other people. And I feel embarrassed about that because you clearly knew how I felt about you because you were able to use it against me. And possibly like friends, like, it's like maybe a delayed sense of humiliation. And that's something that's like somebody is really wanting to like push away or like deny, but feeling these things fully and just coming to like a full and total acceptance of yourself and loving yourself through that and kind of laughing and just being like, oh my gosh, like, because it happens to everyone. It happens to attractive people. It happens to unattractive people. It happens to smart people. It happens, it's like, it happens. Okay. Like, cause we're not all everybody's cup of tea is what it comes down to. We're just not. And it doesn't even have to be like, okay, like, it's just, sometimes you're not somebody's cup of tea. But I feel like just processing through that and like it's going to resolve a lot of this. Maybe it doesn't resolve all of it, but just like being able to see it clearly and just like, oh my gosh, because it feels like there's some type of delayed emotion that you were kind of running from that it feels like you're trying, like if you process it now, then it'll like actually help set you free. And then have some self-care. So it's not all just about the work. And I think some of you have maybe reached a point here where spirit's just reminding you that, okay, like we do the work and it's not just about, okay, so then I feel my big humiliation. And then what? Like, I'm just kind of left out in the cold. Like, great. My big reward for doing the work is I feel like a bunch of humiliation. No, Spirit's like, celebrate yourself afterwards. That's an accomplishment. Love yourself. The next part, that it's like healing yourself up, like licking your wounds, So, take a bubble bath. So now you're actually, when you're applying the bubble bath and stuff, it's like, you're not doing that from a place of denial. So you're actually like, it really is self-care. It's really loving yourself through the process of like healing. of feeling those emotions. And that's how you build a relationship with yourself. This is how you like yourself. This is how you build confidence with yourself. And this is how you don't get into similar situations in the future, because you've changed from the inside out. And so when you have confidence, it's like you're able to say, like, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm really not going to be everybody's cup of tea, And so I don't have to take it so personally when somebody like rejects me. It's a different healing process if you feel like, okay, this was like actually something real and I fumbled the ball. Like, again, just holding space for your humanness and for your brokenness and for your confusion and for your emotional roller coaster that was like maybe really heightened around this person, but the skills weren't there. Like, holding space for that, and where you can just laugh and say, like, I'm a flawed human being. And again, maybe feeling embarrassed about the way that you acted because it maybe revealed more about you than you intended, but people could have really gotten hurt. I don't know. But it's like, again, just like, I don't know, processing yourself through that. Look, poker face. I think this is saying, like, this can be private. If you need this to be private, you don't have to like out yourself. That doesn't have to be part of the process. You have to out yourself to yourself, but be your own best friend in this process. Okay. Where you look out for your needs, but looking out for your needs and, just co-signing all of your most fucked up bullshit. Those are two different things. Like, when you're your own best friend, because your own best friend is going to say, like, come on, girl, we really need to look at this, It's not going to say, like, this is a toxic friendship when it's like, I have your back no matter what. And if you want to go around destroying people, then yeah, like Bonnie and Clyde, like, that's gross and that's toxic friendship. So don't be that kind of toxic friend to yourself. This is also like narcissists really expect loyalty. So they'll do messed up stuff and then they'll see whether or not you like stick by them and you guys are like loyal. And then the friendship is kind of built off of that kind of blackmail energy, emotional blackmail energy, or like, we're both kind of ashamed. So if this friendship falls apart, then we just did weird, nasty stuff that we're ashamed of for nothing. Maybe some of you are clinging on to a friend like that because that's the underlying feeling of like, oh, we did this, like all this nasty, like weird loyalty test shit for no reason, for literally no reason. Like, it wasn't because there was an intimacy here, like, but that's what it's built on. And it kind of is a faux kind of intimacy. So some of you maybe have like, something to let go of like that. And I just saw Oogie Boogie Man from The Nightmare Before Christmas, where like he gets unzipped and it's like, my bugs, and like all the bugs like go a different way. But that's like what's there in the middle of the friendship, where it's like all these nasty, this is a friendship and an intimacy that's built on kind of like, we do this weird Bonnie and Clyde stuff. Like, you do fucked up stuff and I tell you that it's okay, and then I join in and I egg it on, and then like I do fucked up stuff, and and neither one of us is the true good friend that's like, come on girl, get real. Like, I know this isn't who you are and you're going to feel like shit in the morning. So how about we put the phone down and do something else cool instead that we will feel positive about, like we will go, let's just up and go to the amusement park. Let's just go ride some roller coasters. If you want to feel an emotional roller coaster, let's get on an actual roller coaster. Okay. That'll get your blood pumping a little bit. That'll give you an actual problem. Okay. Like, something like that, to get your mind off of it, to get you out of that like energy, be that kind of friend to yourself. And so it's okay for you to have a poker face. Yeah. Maybe about a friend zone or something here. Or like maybe you're trying to catfish somebody or something. Like, just put all of that down, because it's just all it's gonna do is reinforce low self-esteem. Feeling like you're not because you're chasing. You're just constantly chasing after something. And it makes you feel unattractive because you're always in this chasing kind of position. So stop chasing and instead just know who you are and find the things that resonate with you, and be determined and maybe even adventurous enough to engage with life from that perspective, where it's like, if I just kind of go with the flow and I say, Spirit, what's going to make me happy. So instead of like chasing after this one person, or this, like, maybe it's even a trauma from your past or something where maybe something could have like actually worked out, but instead of chasing after that, which is just raking yourself against the hot coals, instead of doing that, just, say, okay, Spirit, what's going to make me happy, and I think probably healing is going to be a part of that. And then, so yeah, going on like, oh, look, blind date. Take a chance on me. Look, surprising meeting. So I feel like getting yourself into this entirely different mode is what this was about. This is like a spiritual divine intervention. And I think Spirit might surprise you. But this isn't like Spirit reaching into your timeline. You're going to start vibrating with a different timeline. And so things are going to start surprising you because the way that things worked out for you in the past, it's not going to be the way that things are playing out for you in your future. And it's going to feel like something entirely, it's going to feel like your path is all of a sudden very blessed. And it's because you're working in alignment with spirit. You're working in harmony with spirit instead of trying to make fetch happen, and then you might accidentally meet somebody, or you might accidentally have like a very fulfilling experience that kind of just like, it's going to show you something about yourself, like what you love, the path that you love, whether it's a person or whether it's like an activity. And you're like, I think I really, I need to, really be able to be around this kind of person or this kind of energy, yeah. Look, money moves. Yeah. So it also like might affect your money in some type of way. And it's also building a kind of inner toughness where you're saying, look, I can face anything. Because once I feel like I keep coming back to this word humiliation. So I think for some of you, like maybe you felt really humiliated because like there's something here where it's like, if you were to admit this to yourself, that you were chasing after somebody that maybe didn't feel the same way about you, or that, whatever this happens to be, that you couldn't handle that you would just kind of like fall apart. But when you just stand and stare in the face of it and you're like, okay, so I wasn't their type. Like, okay, so they like that person and not me. Okay, and like, I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It doesn't mean that I am inherently unattractive. It just means that I have to find, rejection is protection. Everything is working out for me. That's the mindset. Everything is working out for me. It's not this like, I'm trying to manipulate and everything's really working out for me. Even like no, that's wrong because you're trying to make fetch happen, right? So if you just accept, this is like, you're fighting against acceptance and you're doing that like with a denial, or somebody here is. So it's like just being in that energy of acceptance. And then that's going to just start shifting things around. But that's what builds that inner strength. Because I feel like that was somebody who's like mirror you were looking in, whether it's a person that you really liked and maybe they didn't like you back, or it was the person that you really liked somebody, but they really liked this other person who had this strength card. It's like this nobility to them, this like inner toughness, because you were trying to sabotage them, but they still remain noble and strong. It's because they have that kind of relationship with themselves. And you're learning how to build it. That's the real gift here. It's not to be with this man or it's not to be with this woman. It's how do I build it for myself from the inside out? How can I be like that? Because that's what you really want. You're trying to take it from somebody else and wrestle it away. It doesn't work like that. You have to build your own. And this is what's teaching you how to do that. So when you stand by yourself and you hold your own hand and you wipe your own tears and you say everything's going to be okay, and you say that to yourself, and that's the soothing that you seek out instead of trying to sabotage somebody else's relationship or humiliate them, or that makes you feel like shit, and it should. If it doesn't, you got a bigger problem. And so, like when you start to instead say like the soothing that I'm going to seek out is I'm just going to look at the truth. I'm going to sit in the truth, which is acceptance. And I'm going to hold my own hand and I'm going to be my own best friend. And I'm going to do all my favorite things on Sunday. I'm going to watch The Princess Diaries 4 times in a row. And I'm going to watch all my favorite movies and I'm going to eat all my favorite foods. And I might even DoorDash a few of them, even in this economy. And I'm going to cuddle with my cat. I'm going to take a bike ride down the trail that I like to go down. I'm going to do all my favorite shit until I feel better. Every nook and cranny that I have during the week. And on the weekend, I'm doing all my favorite shit. When I plan my grocery list, I'm getting all my favorite snacks. Okay, for this next week, I'm doing that. It's a conscious thing that I'm doing because I'm supporting myself through this. Because I'm not running away from it. And so I deserve a little happiness in my life. And when that person calls me, I'm not going to answer the phone, but I'm not also going to try to emotionally manipulate them into like, well, I'm running away, so aren't you chasing me? Don't do that, any of that shit. Stand fully in the light of truth and know that you can. And that's how you start to trust yourself. And that's how you start to build a genuine perspective where you're like, what do you got at me? What do you got? You can throw anything at me. I just trust myself. I trust myself to be a person about it. I trust myself to have an honest emotional reaction of sadness or this isn't what I wanted. But I also trust myself to work through it. And that's the process of being human. And that's what I'm here to do after all. So I'm going to stop resisting it and acting like I'm God or that I'm going to manipulate my way into all of the outcomes. Like, and this is not being outcome focused, like specific outcome focused of I will be with that person. Or I'm going to humiliate that person by getting them and making them think that I'm their friend or like this. And then I'm going to snatch their man or I'm going to stop doing that weird shit. That's not the process of being human. The process of being human is allowing life to do its thing because this is a school after all. But if you fight the school, then you don't learn anything. And then I don't know if you have to come back here or not, but I just wouldn't want to have to do that, I'm just really motivated to not do that. So that's why I'm really trying to work the system that's laid out. I'm giving it my best, and that's all you can do. And your best will change because sometimes you're going to be tired and sometimes you're going to be sick and sometimes you're going to be healthy and sometimes you're really just going to be making a lot of progress, but you just stand by yourself the entire time. And you can do that, and you can stand 10 toes down because you genuinely know that when you're willing to accept a loss or that something wasn't right for you, you know that you're in touch with reality. And so when you stand 10 toes down, it's like you really know that something is the truth. That when you say something is the truth and that you're not just like bullshitting yourself or anything. So there's always this kind of undermining like, yeah, but I know that that's not really it. So I'm trying to stand in a strong position, but I know that that's not really it. And I just really hope that nobody sees me. No, it's a different energy. It's a different energy altogether. And you're learning about that. You're learning how to start from baseline. That's what it really is. And I feel like some of you, there's like a shock, but it's like an aha moment. It's an aha moment. And I think this is an aha moment for some of you that's on the way to an aha moment that you really asked for, which is like happiness. Because some of you have confused happiness with an outcome that you've like fixated on. You're like, I have to be with Jeremiah, whoever. I have to be with him because that's my happiness, because he ticks all of these boxes. So if I am the person who's able to be with him, then it means that I'm all these things that I want to be. And it's superficial and it's from the outside. And it's actually ultimately not true, but life's been trying to show you that it's not true because they've been trying to show you who Jeremiah really is. They've been trying to show you that he just kind of keeps you on the side and that he's really interested in these other kind of people for whatever reason, not because they're better than you, but just because for whatever reason, it's like maybe that's more of a match than this, but you've just been so stubborn, but you've put Jeremiah as a proxy in for your own happiness because that's what you really want. You really want to be happy. You want to like yourself. You want other people to like you. You want to feel esteemed. Those are the things that you really want. But Jeremiah has been put as a proxy in there, and you fixate on Jeremiah, and therefore you miss everything entirely. So if you just let him go, baby, if you release him and he doesn't become the fixation, whether it's like you want to be with him or you have to sabotage him because just him existing, or maybe it's his girlfriend, like her existing and, in the way that she exists, it makes you feel so bad about yourself that you're like, I have to sabotage her. That's the only way that I'll feel okay. Like you might not realize that that's consciously, you might not think that that's how you feel, but subconsciously it's the way that you're feeling. So if you relinquish all of it and you instead start to focus on the actual thing that you want, which is I want to be happy. I want to be in a real relationship. I want to be valued. I want for there to be like reciprocity. And you start there and you kind of are just honest with spirit and you're like, guide me, lead me to the rock that is higher than I, lead me to the path where you know that that's going to be for me. You're going to probably go through the hero's journey of some type where you learn a lot about yourself. And the things that you learn about yourself are probably all the reasons why it would never have worked with you and Jeremiah. And you just couldn't see it because you couldn't let it go because it was this big blind spot, because it was attached to ego. And there's a lot of things you didn't want to look about yourself, about him, because you just wanted to be right then and there. And that's so human, that's so human. But yeah, so it's going to lead you by like the right road. And then you're going to, like, if you just keep walking it, probably one day you'll wake up and you'll be like, my gosh, I'm so happy. I don't even know when it happened. It wasn't a moment like walking down the aisle and saying I do with Jeremiah. Like it was going to be that one moment, where it's like, okay, now I got everything that I wanted, and happiness switch flipped on. It's not going to be like that. It's going to creep up on you slowly, the same way misery does, be like in being with Jeremiah. Poor Jeremiah. I'm so sorry if like that's your person's name, but like, it's like that misery will kind of creep up on you when you try to make fetch happen, when you try to make something work, instead of being humble and allowing life to show you what it's trying to show you and not trying to push it away. And so I feel like there's a path here where it's like your happiness, where you're going to be like, my gosh, I think I got everything that I actually wanted and I didn't even mean to. Because I wasn't fixating on like the 3D, like I wasn't fixing on like, I have to have this pencil and I have to have this house and I need to have $1 million in my bank account, all these very specific things, because you're using them as like a proxy for the thing that your soul actually really wants. So when people talk about manifestation, like that's the kind of thing where it's like, okay, well, I really do want $1 million, but it's like, there's something, what does the $1 million mean to you? What does Jeremiah mean to you? Like actually write it out. Maybe for some of you, this is like a thing to do in your notebook where you're like, okay, the relationship that I thought like, okay, if I had Jeremiah in a particular way, this like, if we were committed to each other, if I felt like he chose me, blah, 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 what would that mean to me? Like, what would I have in my life, in myself? How would I feel? Like those are the things that you actually want, right? You just attached it to him. And it's about deconstructing the church of Jeremiah, and actually like moving into more of like this free flowing space, reallocating that energy to then watch the magic happen kind of thing. So, okay. Oh, nice. We're all walking each other home. Yes. And the other thing that I'll say is like, because I keep coming back to humiliation or embarrassment. One thing that I've learned in like processing the things that I have in this lifetime is like everyone is humiliated to be themselves. Okay. Like everyone is embarrassed a lot of the time. Okay. Like we all feel that way. And if it's not like all the time, it's just, no, people really have had these moments where they're like, oh my I cannot believe I did that. I cannot believe I said that. People probably hate me. Like it's such a human experience. It's you know what this reminds me of? A quote in Hoppers. If you've seen Hoppers, that new movie, so cute. But it's like it's hard to feel alone when you feel like you're a part of something big. And it's like when you realize that every emotion that you could possibly feel, people have felt that multiple times in their lifetime. You're not the only person who's ever felt humiliated. Even in that one specific situation where you're like, oh my gosh, like, oh, there I was, just all my shit on display, being read for filth, you know, like, okay, that was that one situation, but you're looking at all those other people as like having their shit figured out and stuff. No, they each have their own situation like that. It might not have been that situation, but they all have their own situation where they were you in that scenario. And they were like, oh my gosh, I've really just spit in the bean curds, didn't I? Everybody has that experience. So when you start to kind of realize that, you can give yourself a little bit of leeway, you can give yourself a little love and a little grace and say, yeah, like maybe my particular shit is a particular brand. Okay. But everybody's got their own things. And I literally say that to myself sometimes. And sometimes I even say it to you. Like if I admit embarrassing stuff, I'm like, and don't you even start judging me because I know that you have something that you feel like a little bit like if I knew that about you, where you'd be like, okay, so like, don't judge me about this, but like, you know, it was a Wednesday and like, I don't know, there was a little extra humidity in the air and I think that's what threw me off. But you know, there's a little extra spice in my breakfast and I said this to my boss and you know, like we all have it. So just know that as you're feeling the humiliation or whatever it is, you know, that's like really intense and or makes you just feel embarrassed or ashamed or whatever. Just also feel the acceptance of the broader human community that does know what you mean, you know, that like, even if you have hurt somebody and like the person that you want to go to is like, this is literally something that I cannot accept. Just know that like, there's still like that greater body of like humanity understands what it's like, you know, like we get it. And you're not lost forever. And this isn't the only thing about you that defines you, you know, like, and so in all putting everything into context, it's totally surmountable. Totally surmountable. Okay. All right. Bye, Jill. Okay. And I gotta go too. This was lovely. Thank you guys for spending your Friday with me. If you are on Patreon, we have a Patreon pre-recorded reading. It's the non-romance reading of What Karma Needs Clearing Up. It was an interesting one. It was one of those ones, there's a few of them where it's like, okay, this is like big and I do my best to try to, you know, explain it. And also I haven't mentioned this in a while, but we do sell candles. And, you know, if you're interested in like a nice fresh scent, we do Fresh Start. It's one of our best sellers. It's a nice classic scent. It smells like fresh, warm, like kind of clean laundry. We also have, Hedge, which is very perfumey, if you like a perfumey scent, but it's very floral, perfumey, but it smells kind of like an elevated kind of secret garden. We have, oh my gosh, I can't think of the Moonlit Beach, which is one of my favorites. It smells like being on vacation, but it also smells like being very calm. But what's the one that I'm thinking about? The sun-kissed one? Why can't I think of the name? It's Sunny Side Up. No.
It's just Sunnyside.
Sunnyside. Yeah, because it's happy. It's like a bright, happy, and it's like sun-drenched, and it does smell like being, you know, kind of like just in that sun, that happy kind of sun-drenched energy. So those are probably like the ones I think about seasonally for right now. But there's a lot of them that you can look into. We also do like ritual candles if you're looking for something to work with, and we use the best ingredients that we can find. So 100% soy wax, but it also certain candle brands, most of them, when it says 100% soy wax, it is, but there's like additives that are added to the wax. It's not, what it means by 100% soy wax is that it's not cut with paraffin wax or a different kind of wax, but they can still put in like additives that will burn like with your candle to kind of smooth out the soy wax. Our candles don't have that. It's just 100% soy wax with nothing else added to it except for the fragrance if you're getting a fragrance candle. And we use the cleanest scents that we can find on the market. They are so clean that if you're familiar with Prop 60 in California, there's way more than 60 ingredients that you have to like alert for. That are like known carcinogens or things. If there any of those ingredients are in there, you need to mark it on there. These scents don't have any of those ingredients. So we can sell in California and not have to like put any labels on there because it's that clean, and we pay attention to the wicks that we order as well. So you can be confident that like we are using the best ingredients that we really can find. That also explains the price point on the candles because the ingredients that we use are expensive. But you do get like a hefty amount of candle, and I think the scents are great, and you're supporting a small business. And so, yeah, I haven't mentioned the candles in a while, but we do have a candle business if you are interested in that. So, I love you guys. Thank you guys for spending some time with me. And yeah, Patreon reading tomorrow. And I'm back in the gear of personal readings as well. So if you've signed up with me, like that's all kind of moving forward. And that's what I have. Okay, bye guys.